Aw, yeah. Hey guys, it's the end of the summer and you know what that means. Last hot springs party of the season. If you guys want to grab your swimsuits and kimonos, you're more than welcome to join the trip. Just a couple of party rules before we begin. The following hot springs trip may contain language and content that is not suitable for younger listeners. So listener discretion is advised. Also, there will definitely be spoilers for Konohana Kitan and any other series or movie that we might bring up. So if something that we talk about is something you haven't finished yet, just be on your guard so that you don't accidentally get spoiled. Alright. And finally, the opinions expressed by those that you hear are those of the individual foxes and spirits that you may encounter, and don't necessarily reflect the Dub Talk podcast as a whole. When you guys are ready, let's enjoy a relaxing hot springs vacation. Not as good as it's gonna get.
一つ一つしてゆくの大切なことなくせない
Hello and welcome to Dub Talk, where we cover the latest and greatest in anime dubs. I'm the owner of this Konohanatei, Jamal, and we welcome you to stay for the next however long this episode is. Catering to your entertainment needs tonight are my conscientious Andrew.
Hi guys, how you doing? I'm here to take your service and I hope I do a very good job.
Noah.
Dude, did you hear that there's a sumo wrestler coming to stay with us? I am amped up!
And Steph.
Hello, welcome to my ASMR channel. This is where we have the sounds of a bath in the I don't know what's happening anymore.
I was like, Jamal was like doing a bit, and it was like, this is like borderline ASMR right now.
I thought you were gonna be the Sasuke. I thought you were gonna be the Sasuke to Noah's Ren. Wait, is it?
No, I was Natsume.
He was being Natsume.
Natsume, yeah. Actually, if you want to do bath AMSR, you gotta blow bubbles.
No, don't take my water.
Stephanie, if you want to be my pink-haired lesbian lover, all you had to do was ask.
No,
the hospitality bitch.
She's my stoic, afraid of the dark lesbian.
I am not afraid of the dark,
precious.
thank you. I'm not afraid of the dark, so that does not work. If anything, I'm gonna be just Kiri trolling on all you bitches.
Hey, that works for me too.
That's you're not gonna be full Ubaba for this episode?
No, I don't think I'm gonna be. Yeah, that name came out of left field. No, I'm not gonna be full boss mode. I'm gonna be Kiri, who's gonna troll the fuck out of everybody. Anyway,
please everyone, let's be hospitable to our guests tonight.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Let's be hospitable and not send them to the
please do not touch the guests and maintain social distances, everyone.
Yes.
And we don't discriminate between human or spirit alike.
Nope.
Yes, and in case you couldn't tell by the warm hospitality tonight, we'll be covering the dub of Konohana Kitan, an Iyashikei slice of life from Studio Ghibli.
Woohoo!
And this episode is very special to me because it's my birthday episode.
It is a belated birthday for Jamal.
Very
happy
belated.
Happy birthday from all of us to you. Wish it was our birthday so we could party too.
Hey!
Happy birthday. Da, 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 da.
Woo!
Yes, more of that part later. But I decided this year. Well, to be honest, I had actually been planning this for quite a while. I wanted to cover this show in particular for many reasons, but brief history of it. This was actually based off of not one, but apparently two mangas of the same name in Japan. Mm-hmm. Which I believe the latter got licensed by Tokyo Pop.
Mm-hmm. One of them did, yeah.
Listening to Andrew, a podcast over there, I could tell that was not a good situation.
Mm-hmm. Tokyo Pop is a very polarizing company. For many
trust me, every Sailor Moon fan knows about Tokyo Pop the hard way.
I feel like if you were an anime fan in the mid-2000s, you've got at least some beef with Tokyo Pop.
I still have one volume of a Tokyo Pop manga. in my possession because it's the first manga I ever bought.
On top of that, when the show got picked to be animated, when this property got picked to be animated, we here at Dub Talk did something very special where we did a fall election arc.
Yes, when we used to have full season coverage and impressions and
Yeah.
That was a nightmare.
Back in the olden days.
Yes, and at that point, we decided to let the viewers pick what episodes they want to see us cover, and let's say there's a reason we restrict that to Patreon now. But you know what? That's okay. That's all water under the bridge now, you know. We're here to help each other out.
About to say, never again to try and do the nightmare that is cover seasonal shit.
We tried. We really have tried, but at this point...
I don't...
But you know, we learn from our mistakes. We're here to help each other grow. We're here to heal each other, as you will.
And we're here to scrub each other's backs.
Will you stop it?
So my question, Jamal, is, you know, this episode was on the radar when it first came out. Why did it stick so heavily in your memory that you wanted to cover it 4 years later?
I guess because it's a Iyashikei, you know, because one thing I tend to do with a lot of birthday episodes is I try to find something that is reflective, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, it really gets me kind of thinking, which is why the last time I did this was Real Life, because it helped me to realize myself as a person more, to the point I actually tried to switch careers once, but... that's still going, but we'll see what happens there. Konohana Kitan was something different because, you know, I like a lot of these kinds of shows where, you know, it can make me feel like some kind of emotion because, actually, that's anime in general, but,
yeah, Konohana Kitan's a pretty chill one, but it knows how to hit you where it hurts.
Yes,
it's such a strange smorgasbord of content. Mm-hmm. It feels like a bunch of shows that shouldn't work together, but it does. It's a healing, comfy show.
It is.
It is also an aggressively horny lesbian furry show.
Like,
it is also a shockingly introspective, contemplative show about spirits, mythology, life, death, and like everything that gets lost in between.
Yes, in case you're curious what it's actually about, here's a quick synopsis. Warning, it's a little spoilery. I was going to save this for later, but screw it. Halfway between heaven and earth lies Konohanatei, an inn where Yuzu, a naive yet eager fox girl, works alongside her fellow attendants. As patrons come and go with the passing seasons and connections blossom between the girls, Yuzu's curiosity guides her, because every guest, expected or not, has a story to tell and life lessons to share, and Yuzu is happy to listen.
How's that even spoilerish?
The part where it's halfway between heaven and earth, we don't really learn that until the very last episode. It's kind of like...
Well, actually, I kind of learned that like midway through the show, but it also kind of comes up in episode 4 too, which we'll get to later.
I feel like it's kind of alluded to throughout the show that not only are they connected to the heavens, they are also connected to the mortal realm, because
it's pretty much a limbo, basically.
Exactly what it is. It is a limbo, but it's not a dark gray spider murders den like some other limbos.
At the time of recording this, I'm gonna hopefully finish that game this week. Heck yeah.
But it is a pretty cozy, wonderful world of spirits alike, and it's just this is just very
precious,
very cozy show.
So cozy.
Which is, despite the fact that there is a lot of hot springs and body humor in it, which you would peg to be a little more objectionable, this is a pretty chaste show. It is definitely on the emotional side, and if you can get over the semi-nudity portions, like there's nothing explicit, everything's covered up, but if you can get over that, there's a lot of feel-good life lessons portions in the show, like you were saying, Andrew.
I wouldn't even say it's like because it has nudity or something. It's like
no, in spite of that.
Ah, okay.
No, yeah, he was saying in spite of it.
Yeah, so I guess it's now time to dive into this limbo and figure out what does the fox say?
God,
by
no! Not you! Jamal.
Look.
No one made that joke when this Skype chat was created. What the fuck?
Look, I love Zed. Look, here's the thing. I love Zed to death. She's like the little sister I never had. I respect her dearest. But goddamn, I've been waiting to make that joke since the Helpful Fox Cycle. So, and goddamn it, I will make that joke if I want to. Because it's my birthday and I'll cry if I want to.
You would cry too if it happened to you.
Shit. Anyway.
So what fine, brave studio decided to license and dub this chimera of an anime?
Well, you know right off the bat, it's a Funimation dub. So let's get into it as we always do with our ADR director and scriptwriter. Now this is an interesting situation because we actually have not one, but two directors on this. Yes, for our ADR directors, we have Jade Saxton and Clifford Chapin. And as for our scriptwriter, we have Deborah Crane.
Yay!
Interesting.
As for the things they've done, you've seen Jade Saxton direct other shows such as Tokiwabu Hanamaru, Interviews with Monster Girls, and Nekopara. Clifford Chapin, you've seen him direct Alice in Soroku, Dr. Stone, and Planetarian. And both of them have worked on The Silver Guardian seasons 1 and 2, respectively. that was a fun time we did, huh, Steph?
And then I got questions later, like, why did you talk about that show?
Man, we got like half of the American fan base for the Silver Guardian in this call.
Oh shit.
I don't know if I would say fan base.
Hey, I liked it, so.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's not
my favorite thing.
Exactly.
But it's fine.
Anyways, tell me about the train.
Anyway, Deborah Crane, you've seen her write other stuff such as Eureka 7 High Evolution, Genocidal Organ, Harmony, Solidarity Children, and of course, she's the writer for Sailor Moon Crystal, which she's also writer for the Eternal movies, which just came out this month.
Really? Okay,
yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, would like to go first on this conversation?
I will. I'll probably be very brief about it. So, I'll start with the writing, because, I really love Deborah Crane's writing on this. Like, she must have had such a ball with this one, because I'm used to a lot more of the dramatic scripts that she's written for. I'm glad you point out Genocidal Organ as an example of that. But, Lord almighty.
Yeah.
There's just some moments and some bits in the show where you can tell that she had to take the script wasn't. I don't think I could be corrected if I'm wrong on this. I don't think it stuck 100% to the original translation, but it wasn't like extremely loose either. It was a fun little middle ground because of the fact that it's a comedy. You need to be able to play up some of those comedic moments, but at the same time, because there's a lot of traditional Japanese myth and lore involved.
Oh my god!
With it,
wow.
Yeah. You
need a goddamn encyclopedia to follow. If you're not ingrained in native Japanese and Chinese folklore, you need the translator's notes to understand a lot of the references in the show.
Yes.
Not the heart, not the dialogue, not the story, but definitely the references.
Yeah, definitely all of the mythological references. And I think Deborah manages to take all those elements and just not only keeps it done in a way that is easily digestible to the viewer, but also has a lot of fun with it. My one note specifically regarding some of the fun moments. So episode 4.
The egg episode.
So slight mini summary of episode 4, because it actually involves a character we're going to talk about in a little while.
Kakyoin, did you lay this egg?
Oh, good God.
You need to take responsibility.
So one morning, Ren just wakes up and she has this egg attached to her belly for some reason. No one knows why or where the hell it came from. And essentially, the joke is, while this egg is still an egg, and this happens to both Ren and Satsuki, a lot of fucking pregnant jokes were made at their expense.
Yeah.
And it was just so good. Because the rest of the employees of the Konohanatei were treating this as if like Ren or Satsuki were actually pregnant, and then the joke is the two of them are like, "I'm not actually pregnant. What the fuck?" So
who's knocking up the hostess? That's the big question.
I know one of the jokes for it, especially with Ren, was Natsume, how could you? She's like, Natsume's process like, he's like, okay, I'll take responsibility, I guess. And then everyone's like, wait, what?
What a champ!
Natsume is the best
Yeah.
character. I'm sorry.
That's how you know she's a real one.
Natsume.
And she is committed
yeah.
to this relationship.
Oh, yeah. But, no, Deborah Crane definitely has a lot of fun with the, writing on the show. It just blends all of these elements together very well, and I enjoyed it. Directing-wise, it's an interesting situation. Because both Jade and Cliff, because I had to backtrack on the announcements from 2017 to make sure were they both announced at the same time? Was it one or the other? It was both of them. So this is a co-production, co-directing one, 100% all the way through. And as far as I know, there's no information as to who specifically did what. So for all intents and purposes, it's co-directed. I believe at this point in time, both of them were becoming a bit more established directors, if I remember correctly. Cliff at this point, this is after things like Gosick came into play, where he became a full-time director with Funimation. And if I am remembering my information correctly, I could be wrong, don't quote me on it. Jade, I think, was only like a contracted director. But I really enjoyed this team up a lot because like it's a fun balance with some of the fun cutesy little bits, like the fun cutesy emotional heart moments, and again with a lot of the comedy, which, believe it or not, for the amount of dramatic things that Cliff tends to direct, he's really good with his comedy shows.
Yep.
And this is also one of them, and it shows very, very well. Jade is also, she's no stranger to the cutesy, kind of like, the cutesy, I don't want to call it bait, like Yuri bait, or kind of, whatever this is, the cutesy shows, like, cutesy funny shows like this, because Token Rambu happened before this one. So it's a fun melding of the minds on this one, and the casting, the performances are so much fun. I honestly don't have a lot of gripes against pieces of this. It's just so cute and relaxing, and you just want to spend the afternoon and just enjoy yourself. It's not on the level of what people will normally say, you can fall asleep nice and comfortably while watching Mushishi. It's not to that level. But it is a fun, calming, relaxing show. What for sure. So I think directing and writing front, it was very, very well done.
I kind of argue that it is a show you can calmly fall asleep to, because I did a couple of times.
Oh.
That'll happen, but
everyone's different. It's just like tonally speaking, you're comparing Mushishi to Konohana Kitan. It's a little bit different.
I definitely say like the episode.
That is very different.
I definitely say the episode with the rain, where she's weaving the rainbow.
That one I can see people falling asleep to. That
it.
is one of those exceptions, because that is a really good one and just is very calming, 100%. But in terms of like the whole thing.
I mean, it would be difficult to fall asleep to the goddess turns into tiny bubble creatures and we have to catch all of them portions.
And so it would also be very difficult to fall asleep to every time Yuzu freaks the fuck out or Okiko is being chased by Sakura, but I digress.
But yeah, but I mean, Mushishi also has a lot of those moments where it shocks you awake. Like, are you really gonna fall asleep after girl loses eyes and has to have a glass one put in?
If it was me, if I already fell asleep, that shit would not wake me up. I'd still be out like a light.
So many nightmares from that show. But no, to take the mic on the directing portion of this show is incredibly Japanese. Like, oh my god, it is engulfed everything into from both the visuals to the music to the myths and especially the character archetypes. The voice acting on this is meant to be incredibly anime, because a lot of the characters are pretty rote anime tropes. You've got the tight-nosed tsundere, you've got the loose drinker who fondles the new girl, you got the new girl who's just a ball of pure cinnamon sunshine, and all of them have to be matched into the English directing. So Jade and Clifford's handling of it is to make pretty equivalent compromises in English. A lot of the characters have the same tenor, has the same timbre as their Japanese counterpart, speak pretty similarly without mimicking the style too much. If you watch stuff like Fully Cooley is a good example where they couldn't really translate the archetypes into English, so they just mimicked the Japanese. They don't exactly do that in Konohana Kitan. Everyone sounds believable to the point that you could absolutely listen to this in English without needing to listen to the Japanese to get what's going on.
Oh, Fully Cooley is an old school example where they basically tried to match the personality beat for beat.
Yeah.
Back before.
Very old example.
I still remember that episode.
Back before we learned that, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't try to sound like the Japanese.
Yeah,
maybe we should
let
like
people
English.
act.
Yeah. Yes, we should. And act they do. Clifford and Jade when characters have to be over the top and funny, they absolutely let them do that. But if they're not, if they're more serious, if they're more reserved, they rein them back in. Like, that's another point I want to point out, is they're not trying to make this over the top comedic where it doesn't belong. Everything is fitting in the scenes. And that goes for the script writing as well. Oh my god, Deborah could not have had a tougher assignment in this, because okay, we just covered Princess Jellyfish not too long ago.
Yes.
And that was a show where the script absolutely made a ton of changes to the references. A lot of Japanese-centric references in their pop culture were modified for English speakers who wouldn't necessarily get them.
Right.
Now, let's go through a couple of the myths that pop up in this show, which maybe not everyone knows about. Let's see, show of hands. How many people are familiar with the Moon Rabbit?
Princess Kaguya?
Yeah.
Princess Kaguya.
I actually finally watched
yeah.
this, understanding how the whole Princess Kaguya moon myth works now.
Yep.
There you go. Okay, that's one that people know about. All right, what about the turtle and the, what's his name? I had it written down here.
The turtle named Semi-Straight.
No, the Urashima and the Tama-Tobacco. How many people are familiar with that myth?
Okay, that one I don't know.
Maybe
Jack.
I might.
Okay.
As soon as you said Urashima, my mind went to Okami-san and the Seven Companions.
That's why.
I don't think.
That's why
that's
that or Kami-sama Kiss, maybe. But,
Gotcha. I mean, that may be ingrained in there as well. But yeah, my point is that any Japanese person watching this is probably going to be familiar enough with the references. So when you've got characters like talking turtles and moon princesses show up, they don't have to have context for it. And this show could have absolutely tried to create context for the references, for the myths, for all of that, for people who aren't familiar with them. But there's just no time to do that. The only way you could really do that is to have, like, pop-up text. You have translators' notes explaining what these are for the listeners. But they don't do, Funimation doesn't do that. So what we got very natural dialogue, very funny where it needs to be, and ones where they just trust the audience. Like, Deborah just trusts the audience to infer stuff from the context, and if it interests them, maybe go research it some more. Like, after watching a couple episodes, I definitely went out and listened to, or found out terminology like the Yoamiya, which is the festival held on the eve of a main festival, or some of those are the myth. So yeah, point is that this is so Japanese it hurts, and it's incredibly accessible to English speakers with the way that the staff adapted it. Good job on you guys.
Dub is good.
Yeah.
I will now.
That's how you start.
That is my opening argument. I will now elaborate on that.
Okay.
Objection.
Overruled.
Fair enough.
Thank
Continue.
you, ma'am. Anyways,
Fair enough.
so Jade and Cliff are pretty reliable, consistent directors at this point in my mind. This is definitely when they were a little earlier in their career. They also had pretty decent mix of people that were relative veterans, but also people who were really early on in their career or not given as much play compared to their contemporaries. I think a couple of them were a little rough in the start because they were still a little green, but they really built into their characters and their performances really well as they went along. And some of them had some pretty memorable moments and really touching, impressive performances. One of which was like, I think the first time I had ever heard this person play this kind of character before, and it kind of like opened my eyes to their particular range. I think Jade and Cliff do a good job with the comedy, the drama, and the mystique, is how I'd say. And I'd definitely say Deborah Crane's writing is pretty good, pretty accessible, and pretty fun and enjoyable.
Mystique is a good way to put it, because did you guys look up what the translation of the title actually means?
No, actually.
Okay, if I understand correctly, Konohana is an abbreviated form of a ryokan, which is the kind of inn that they stay in, like the very old-fashioned Japanese-style hotel.
Right.
And then Kitan, the way that the kanji is written, translates to mysterious story. So you could translate literally to hotel story.
Huh.
So when you say mystique, like that's definitely fitting, because there's a lot of mystery around how this universe works, and half the fun is just figuring out what the resolution's going to be in the end.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Alright, so my turn. With Jade and Cliff, because one thing with Jade is, I know she tends to direct a lot of feel-good shows. But I know she particularly likes the ones that involve animals and folklore the most, basically. It just seems to appeal to her nature somehow. I can't really explain it, but when she does good work, she does good work. And Cliff, I know Cliff is no stranger to directing. He's very structured, he's very focused. He knows what he wants out of the show and knows how to maximize every bit of it. So seeing these two together was made for a very interesting combo, a very interesting dynamic. To the point it's like they trust each other a whole lot, especially when it comes to certain other projects as well, which is why I mentioned Silver Guardian. As for Deborah Crane and her script writing, it was a good thing you brought up Princess Kaguya and how she has to appeal to Western audiences, because I know from experience watching Sailor Moon Crystal, which most of it is based around the story of Princess Kaguya, she understands her way around Japanese folklore a bit. At least that's the vibe I'm getting from. And on top of that, like, she always figures out a way to appeal to certain audiences. I still remember one line in Crystal where Sailor Pluto had talked about taboo. A law being taboo in Japanese, she changed that to sacred law. And I asked her, one other person asked her, why did she change the line like that? She said it was to make it so that the audience will understand this. Because if you think about it, what comes to mind when you think the word taboo?
Well, you think something to be avoided.
Tattoo. That's what I
Shut up, Andrew. Shut up. We're not going there tonight.
Taboo to me would be something forbidden.
Something to be avoided.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much, which, well, not a lot of things were forbidden in this show. There's everything played out, but I know she definitely has a good grasp on the story, and that she did very well in the script. I didn't really see any problems other than, the show can go a lot of places at times, switching between folklore and comedy to being serious and dramatic when it needs to be. But she handled all that very well. I think you can say everybody did a very good job here then. So
heck yeah.
I feel like the best way to describe the show to anyone who hasn't seen it yet and has no context for how to describe the feeling is it's like a really good apple pie, because apple pie has both sweet apples and bitter seasoning in it, like cinnamon and nutmeg. But when you put them all together, they just make the greatest combination, the greatest feel-good combination in the world.
Yeah, that's accurate, yeah. You got 3 cooks in the call right now. You're a cook, too.
Yep.
I'm a cook.
You're still learning.
Andrew qualifies. He's a sous
still
chef.
learning.
He can win. He can win this food wars. Okay, he can win the Shokugeki.
You think you can win a food war against someone?
Oh god, no.
I mean, not nobody in this call, but maybe someone else.
Anyone in
Oh,
this
okay.
call.
Side note on that. I just realized.
Yeah.
Shokugeki means food war, right?
That's a literal translation. Yeah.
So wouldn't the title be Food War, Summer's Food War?
That's exactly what it is.
Yo,
But
what the fuck?
They didn't want to make it too obvious in English, so they just dropped his name from the English translation, which is good because he's not even the best character in that show.
Okay, before we have an all-out brawl-out, who's best character?
Megumi for life.
Megumi is the best.
I agree with that. Can we move on to the next section?
Yeah, let's
move on to the best characters in this show.
We got so many freaking characters. Let's do this.
And not a lot of time, I guess. But so we're gonna be covering everybody in large groups except for the main characters, and there's a very good reason for that. So we're gonna start out with episode 1, where you see Yuzu's being escorted by a nun named Sister Bikuni, who raised her from when she was young. Manages to get a job at the Konohanatei because apparently she and the lady that runs it has a prior history together. Also, on the back half of episode 1, we meet a pharmacist who apparently somehow, according to A&S, is a furry guest. But we meet him as he accidentally gets injured by Yuzu's carelessness and tries to make it up between her and Satsuki by having a little fun, I guess, just pulling their leg.
His medicine. His medicine is it's Konpeito. He's just got Konpeito as medicine. That's adorable.
That is adorable.
Yuzu does his best.
What's even more adorable is when you meet the priestesses of episode 2, Hiragi and Ayame. Hiragi, you find out, is Satsuki's older sister. To which you learn a little backstory about her. You think that Satsuki has an inferior complex to her older sister. Turns out it's vice versa, and Hiragi's pretty much could be autistic. Wait, hold on, let me rewind that because it sounded wrong. Hiragi's being good at artist, while Satsuki has pretty much the brains of the family, and as a result, Hiragi set off to be a priestess, while Satsuki works at the Konohanatei.
She's also the most horny.
Yes, thank you, Andrew.
Hiragi
because
bitches.
Because when you're looking for a priestess, the thing you want in a priestess is their horniness.
She's not afraid to be out there, and good for her.
Yeah. Speaking of being out there, Ayame points out that
Noah, who else do you want to make you pray, oh God, like a holy woman?
Sit down!
I would get on my knees for here in more ways than one.
She doesn't want you.
I know she doesn't.
She doesn't want anything with the tempting snake of the Garden of Eve.
Yep, she's here for that clam bake. We get that.
Jamal,
by the way, Andrew, Andrew, this is the second time we're covering a show where an older sister is named Hiragi. Isn't that awesome?
Fancy that.
Help me, Jamal. This is going nuts.
Wrap it up, guys.
Really, Noah?
That's not me.
That's me.
Oh, it's Jamal. I
demand an apology. Now, Lilac, you get on your knees. I demand an apology.
Nope. You ain't getting one from me, bud.
I'm cutting that out of the episode and saving it for the Patreon. Anyway, to which we find out from Ayame that Hiragi will pretty much help anything that moves. We don't know much about her other than I guess she's her best friend and another priestess.
She is a good gal pal.
Yep.
Yes, gals being pals. So
they're all
these
just gals being pals. Anyway.
That's what this whole show is, gals being pals. Anyways, who voices the characters?
Sister Bikuni is voiced by Lydia Mackey. The pharmacist is voiced by Ben Phillips. Hiragi is voiced by Kali Clinkybeard. And Ayame is voiced by Trina Nishimura. Lydia Mackey, you've also heard as Vanessa in Black Clover and Shizuri Mugido in the Certain Scientific Railgun. Ben Phillips, you've heard as Shiraishi in Golden Kamuy and Yasuhiro Inaba in Tsukigaki Rei. Kali Clinkybeard is no stranger to this show. You've heard Titania, the ancient Magus bride, and Momo Yaozu. Holy fuck.
Wow,
Momo Yayorozu. Momo Yayorozu.
Momo Yayorozu in My Hero Academia. And Tree the Distributor, you've heard as Chain and Blood Blockade Battlefront, and Kyoko Jiro in My Hero Academia.
So shall we keep this nice and brief for these characters? Okay.
I mean, we can try. It's just, weirdly enough, 3 out of 4 of these characters have more to do. They show up a bit more often, so.
Every one of these characters shows up at least twice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. The pharmacist does show up a second time.
The pharmacist shows up in the wedding episode too, and I quote,
He shows up in episode 10.
"Give a medicine that makes you bigger on your wedding night."
I know where you go with that. Please, for the love of God.
I mean, he also had medicine to make you small on your wedding night, so you better watch what you say, bud.
Oh, no, that was after the wedding night. Trust me, on your wedding night, you're gonna want that medicine that makes you grow 10 times.
No, that was after the reception.
That's it? I quit.
It's, okay. Let's tell you what, I'll make this very... Let's talk about that pharmacist, actually, because Ben Phillips is very sweet and adorable in this role. It's, he's a big furry... bear man. I'm not sure what animal he's supposed to be.
Bear dog thing.
Yeah, bear dog thing. And because he's supposed to be comforting more than intimidating, he's even so benevolent that he doesn't mind that Yuzu used herself to cushion his fall. Ben plays him off as just very sweet and adorable, especially when he's telling her, I need you to knock stars out of the sky for medicine, and of course Yuzu plays along with it. So yeah, Ben's entire veneer is, and as one of the few males we get to talk about, is very nice and very benevolent. Lydia is also very nice. Her standout scene, I feel, is actually the flashback scene where she finds a Yuzu sickle and, adopts her basically as her own. And she's just very sweet and adorable in that as well. The very maternal voice, which is good because I wouldn't really call any of the main Konohanatei staff members to be motherly-like. They're much more sisterly in nature. So Lydia kind of fills that maternal role that we don't get from those other characters. And now Colleen is interesting because, a show of hands from the audience here, when you think of Colleen Klinkenbeard, what kind of voice do you think of? Do you think of lower voice? Do you think of mid-range? Or do you think of higher voice?
Mid-range to lower, usually.
Yeah.
Especially because sometimes Colleen plays boys.
She does. I mean, when
or like older women.
See,
that too.
Now that's Jamal's on the track of what I was thinking. I'm used to think of Colleen when she's not playing boys as low-voiced older women. So it's very interesting that in playing Hirogi, she's playing an older sister with the same kind of speech pattern that she normally does, but with a higher pitch. She's not playing low. She's not playing like her Holic voice. She's playing, more of a younger character. And again, she does that very well. So I just found that very interesting because I keep forgetting just how much range Colleen really has. But that's also because I don't watch One Piece. So I'm not experiencing her in her most iconic role, obviously.
Luffy goes all over the fucking place.
He does. And I'm not about to jump on that bandwagon. I don't have time for 1,000 episodes.
No one does. It's almost at 1,000 episodes in Japan.
See, the sub is there. The dub only just recently hit 700.
And I know everyone's going to be like, oh, you don't have to watch it all at once. just watch a couple episodes a day. And I'm like, but it's a lot of episodes.
It's a pretty big time sink.
Good luck. I tried that last year. I failed heavily.
Oh, Andrew and I, we were having that conversation the other day where he was like, I don't even know, because some people in the Dub Talk group have done things like the Year of Bleach and shit like that.
Year of Fairy Tail.
Year of Fairy Tail. Andrew's just like...
Watch Maddiness.
Yeah, and Andrew's just like, I don't even know if a Year of One Piece is fucking feasible, considering...
It's not.
I tried. It didn't work.
The decade of One Piece would be more applicable.
I would try. I kind of want to try, but it wouldn't be a year. It would probably be at least 2.
Andrew, would you be more inclined to do it if you had a group of people to share the experience with?
Yes, actually.
Oh, God.
No, I agree. I also got through the year of Digimon because I had a group to, go about doing it with. You people listening know who you were. That was a fun year until I gave up when we got to Frontier.
Anyway.
But,
anyways, moving on.
Oh, and Trina does a very good job as Ayame. Ayame's interesting because she's kind of unassuming as the gal pal to Hirugi, but she gets one of my favorite deliveries, which is where Ayame and Hirugi are kind of co-opted into doing a dance for a moon princess, but Ayame knows that, but I could get the sister to do this instead. So does the show concoct a reason for Ayame to not be able to do the dance? No, she just goes, oh no, I stayed in the bath too long, I can't do it. And the delivery is just like that. It's so unconvincing that it's pretty funny to listen to.
She's so fake. She's fakey at heart.
She is. I'm glad the show didn't...
Really? I never would have guessed.
Well, I'm glad the show didn't concoct an excuse for her to be unable to do that dance. Like, I like that was... It was a necessary comedic moment to balance out the dramatic sister rivalry that we had in that episode. And for that, Trina definitely carries more than her fair share of the drama as the, forgive the pun, the straight partner to Hirugi.
Oh, Lord.
God, nobody in this show is straight.
No.
A couple people, at least one people get married.
I can think of one other person in the next section.
We'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, that's...
Yeah,
to keep this...
Let's be real. This is Konohanatei. Everybody's bi at best.
Also true.
Bi at best. That's a good way to put it.
Best Buy.
God
Yes.
damn it.
Yes. Alright, who wants to go next?
You get 2 for the price of 1.
Oh, Jesus H. Christ. Really, babe?
There, you can mix and match all sorts of appliances to
This
your heart's
is-
content.
Does the
Does
the H in Jesus H Christ stand for homo?
Let's not argue
Sure as heck
semantics.
doesn't stand for hetero.
Look, I'm not. Look, Jesus has done a lot more things than you would think. So.
Oh, I
Says the
bet.
Jewish boy.
I haven't read
Oh,
I haven't
God.
read the expanded universe, but I believe he has.
I haven't read the expanded universe. Fuck. Anyway.
I'm pretty sure that's frowned upon if you're not reading the extended Jesus cinematic universe.
Oh my god. Really?
One of you people talk about the cute Fox Girl show.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Steph's looking at me right now. She seems pretty cross.
Really, you think?
You motherfucker. You bet I'm fucking cross.
Andrew, tell us about Lydia.
Do it, bitch.
Lydia is a delightful mom figure, which, by the way, it's hard to not see her as a mom figure after watching recent seasons of Fruits Basket. Oh, she is delightful in Fruits Basket, but she's also delightful as the very good sister Bikini, who literally just picks out a fox daughter from the garden that's freezing to death. I also appreciate the fact that Wild Yuzu is very much like a feral cat.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Aggressively so, in that she is just hissing and she doesn't want to deal with anything until she starts coming over on her own time. It's like, that's cute. But Lydia does a good job. I love Ben Phillips as the warm, fuzzy pharmacist guy. He's such a good dude. I love the sight gag where he's wet and he's so skinny all of a sudden. It's like, I love that little gag. Trina as Ayame does a good job as being the sweet, caring, but also possibly mischievous Fox Shrine girl. But yeah, you're right. The highlight for her was like the, oh no, I'm not feeling too good. Oh no, I'm falling. And Hiragi does a good job being the spunky little firecracker, flirtatious. God, she was flirting with Rem. You know shit's serious when even Natsume was like, that bitch hitting on my wife.
Natsume, don't let anyone touch her, Rem.
She better not catch me with my wife again, otherwise she's gonna catch these hands.
These paws
these
uphold the
heels.
law.
Catch these hands and these heels.
Anyways, Khalid does a good job being the shrine lesbian flirt. She good. And I like her teasing relationship with Sati. Yes.
What did you think of the flashback scene where or not the flashback scene, but like the resolution where she's kind of admitting that she thinks Satsuki actually is better than her?
I think that's very fair and valid because siblings really think the other. Let's be real. Mm-hmm. Unless you're a sociopath, I feel like you think most people are better than you.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like unless you legitimately are just a huge narcissist or sociopath, I feel like everybody thinks that the people around them are much more better and worthy than you are. Mm-hmm. So the fact that she thinks that her sister is much better and more up to the task than she is actually pretty realistic. I was actually pretty okay with that development.
Yeah, and I like that was, contrasted with her, like you were saying, her more not sinister, but more devious moments. And you see that whole other side of her. It's almost like she's compensating for her insecurities by being that way.
Do you want me to go, Jamal, or do you want to go?
I'll let you have a breathe. I'll go. So, pretty much, with Lydia, I always like when she plays the mature adult characters, the motherly type characters, because she always has that soothing kind of voice built for it. I mean, of course, there are moments I can think of where, she's not soothing, but that's another story.
That's not in this show.
It's not in this show, but she does a very good job as the nun. Ben Phillips is the pharmacist. Even back in the day, you already hear a lot of Ben Phillips. You already hear a lot of Ben Phillips roles, period. But it's only now.
Give Ben more work.
Yeah, this was before Golden Kamui and Jobless Reincarnation and all that fun stuff.
Yes, but even then, he's still moving up in the food chain.
Yay! We love Ben.
Yeah, speaking of food chain, poor the Satsuki used his leg with those campaigns, so that was really funny. as well as the shrinking medicine incident.
Oh yes.
To which Kiri was mean to Satsuki about that. Oh my god.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It was fun watching.
They say in some stories that a kiss from their true love will wake up the princess. Like, what?
Blush.
More on that later.
That's how love can be born out of misunderstanding sometimes. I mean, anyway, Ben Phillips.
This is a universe where sleeping next to someone gets you pregnant.
This is true.
Poor Ren needs sex ed so bad.
Yeah, they all need sex ed. Who are we fucking?
Oh, I doubt Kiri needs sex ed. Yeah. She probably wrote the book.
Okay, Kiri might be the only exception, but they all need sex ed.
Oh, boss fucks.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh, that woman has done things.
Has done things and people.
Obvious joke.
Things and people.
Anyway.
Oh, she's probably banged gods.
I'm sorry, Jamal.
Good God. Anyway.
You know what you signed up for.
Ben. Yeah, I know I signed up for it, so. Ben was good as the pharmacist. Colleen is Hiragi. I will admit, I was expecting. Yeah, I guess because of Hiragi's nature, the fact that she took a higher approach to her voice made her stand out as much as Hiragi did, because, Hiragi's the older sister. I thought, maybe there will be some time like she'd at least be a little mature, use her deep voice, but I guess, when it comes to being the free spirit, Kali managed to match that edge perfectly, especially when she's just taunting Satsuki most times, but of course with the revelation that she's kind of inferior to a younger sister. Yeah, I can kind of relate to that sibling rivalry a little bit, because I know it's been some ways with me and my brother sometimes, but I think between the two of us, he's more better, but there have been moments where it kind of switches back and forth. But that's not a story for this episode. And Ayame is a partner and priestess. Yeah, she's equally as mischievous too, but not to the point like she's just taunting Satsuki. But she does a very good job playing the coy little priestess that Ayame is. This is like, I guess, two pieces of the pod, you could say. Especially when you see the two at the intro, as Haraki's just looking very mischievous.
Oh, yeah.
To which,
you know when you see everyone else is cameo, fade in, fade out, but right at the bottom of the stairs, like, oh, we should be paying attention to these two.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and be really, really quick about all of these performances. Granted, they also show up more than once compared to some of the other episodic characters, so that's a thing. I'm gonna start with Ben Phillips as the pharmacist, because he is a precious, precious furry dog bear man thing. And Ben is just a delight as this pharmacist who just means so well. He's so wonderful. We love him. Lydia McKay. She definitely has, like, somebody said this earlier, has the more maternal figure, the more motherly, maternal sound and tone to her voice, which works very, very well. And I also agree that she's probably the only one with that, and the residents of Konohanatei are more have, like, the sister tone. I actually wrote that as a note for a couple of them. With maybe the boss. No, boss wouldn't be a mother tone. Boss is just a boss tone.
she is a girl boss.
She's a lady boss. But no, Lydia Maki is a delight, and I also really loved the flashbacks with her finding Yuzu and Yuzu's upbringing, and it's just really, really precious and gentle and sweet and very patient, especially with Yuzu. Because Yuzu is just a precocious little bean. Ayame is... I'm gonna... Let me talk about Colleen and Trina at the same time, because they both have a fun dynamic that they play off of each other with.
Yeah.
And I kind of can't exactly separate the two of them because of it. Though Colleen's dynamic as Hiragi with Satsuki is also very interesting as well. Considering the relationship... The kind of... I don't want to say it's strained, it kind of is, but at the same time, it's all one misunderstanding, in a sense.
Also, their parents put them against each other for no reason.
Yeah, pretty much. But I really do like the dynamic between Colleen and Trina. Colleen being the ever so wonderful troll that Hiragi is, and also just wants to, and is also just a flirt. She's such a flirt. And again, when you know Natsume is about to beat up a bitch, you know.
You fucked up.
You fucked up. And Trina's also a fun time. The tone of voice that Trina uses reminds me a little bit of... Oh, I forgot the character's name, but her character Netoge.
Akko?
Akko, a little bit. It's a similar tone, except Ayame is at least a little bit more older and mature sounding than Akko. But yeah, it's a fun group of characters. Oh god.
Yeah.
I liked how you mentioned the flashback with Yuzu and Lydia Maki, because that bit has not as much dialogue, and I feel like some of the most memorable parts of the show actually are the ones without any dialogue.
Oh, absolutely. Again, the next section, I think... Oh, yeah, the next section has her. Hiyori is one of those, I think, speaks more volumes without dialogue.
Right, which is not a knock against the voice actresses by any means.
No, it's just how the show is made. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So y'all good to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so I'm gonna take the next few episodes here. I believe 2 through 7, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, next up we have our only group of 5 for the night. Starting with Aoi. The thing about Aoi is you find out Aoi accidentally drives a wedge between Ren and Natsume, because Aoi wants to learn wrestling from Natsume, because they think Aoi's that Natsume is a wrestler, when really, she's just into the sport. You come to find out during the training session that apparently Aoi is a boy. who Red mistook for a girl at first, leading to the wedge between them.
And Aoi also mistook Natsume as a boy. So that, of course.
And somehow in the confusion, Aoi ends up getting a crush on Red.
Oh yeah, and Natsume just like,
Natsume just shuts him down.
Oh, shuts him down so fast.
I think the funniest thing to me is that Ren is so jealous when she thinks Aoi is a girl, because she's like, oh, Natsume is such a huge disaster lesbian. Is she gonna steal her from me? And then as soon as she finds out Aoi's a boy, it's like, oh, I have no worries, cool.
It's like, no, I'm good. This is not even a competition.
It's like these two. It's not even subtext. They're quite literally married with a mortgage.
Shit.
I love that spin-off of Married with Children.
Married with a mortgage.
Look, they did give birth to a pig after all.
Speaking of which,
technically
we have
that was
Unosuke.
Satsuki who ended up giving birth to the pig.
She
They
warmed
they
it.
fostered. Yes, they fostered the piggy.
Speaking of Foster the pig, we have Unosuke, mysterious little pig who
Cute
came
little
out of nowhere.
mascot.
Cute little mascot came out of nowhere.
And he's a dream eater.
Yes, Dream
He's a
Eater. Baby.
Gengar.
So,
He's a Gengar that learned Dream Eater.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
wow, I was making a Sentai joke, but you went to Pokemon.
Fucking did. You know I did. I love Gengar. He's one of my favorites.
Okay, then. But, speaking of ghosts, we also have Shino, a little girl who rapidly ages throughout the course of the back half of the third episode.
Episode 4.
Episode 4, thank you very much. You then find out that she's a child that died in infancy. And at that point, she grows up rapidly because,
She's living the
She
life
just
she
wants-
never had.
Yep.
The whole episode
Basically.
is a metaphor for parenthood, from pregnancy to marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Nice.
a tough episode.
And it's not quite as funny as that Steve Martin not Steve Martin. What's the white-haired guy?
It's Steve Martin.
Steve, oh, I'm sorry, you're right. It's not as funny as that Steve Martin movie, Nobody throws up on anybody and nobody steals their dad's car, but it's about the same mentality.
That's what
Thank
hurts.
you for the Father of the Bride reference.
No, that's the movie Parenthood, which came
Oh,
out.
I thought
Did someone steal a car in Father of the Bride?
it's been a while since
I
I've
haven't
seen
seen
parts,
either
I can't
movie,
remember.
but anyway.
Oh my
It's
god!
been years, so.
I know, I just...
But point is that being parents is tough, and nothing drives that point home like Shino's entire journey.
Yeah, and speaking of tough journeys, we have Okiku, who's a Japanese doll, who's a doll made from, who's made by the finest Japanese craftsmen.
by a master
The
craftsman.
master craftsman,
As she says over and over again.
Was a keepsake of an owner, but his wife found it too creepy, so he locked her up and basically kind of threw her away. So,
Which, on the one hand, that's not nice, but on the other hand, traditional Japanese dolls are kind of creepy.
They are extremely creepy. That's why they moified her, and now she's fine.
Now she's collectible.
Now she would be on somebody's anime figure collection.
Now she can be in the Me 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 music video.
Oh no.
Oh my
yes.
god.
No.
I'm not even gonna ask.
Good.
No.
Speaking of collecting,
Her figure isn't quite as robust to be part of that.
Anyway, can we talk about one of my favorite episodic characters?
Yeah, speaking of collections, we have Hiyori, who's a weaver, the servant of the gods. She doesn't talk much until Yuzu starts singing and gets her to open up. You find that she's weaving a special kind of fabric made from the raindrops she collects in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cool because when she unveils that fabric, it makes a rainbow, which is definitely
rainbows. It's precious.
it's very precious.
Butterflies in the sky. I can go twice as high.
What?
Take a look. It's in a book. I'm reading
It took me a second to realize where you were going with that.
Don't worry, it happened to me too. Well, I started thinking of Diamond to the Sky, but I'm like, nah, I did not think of that song.
I was like, where are you going with this? And then it took a minute. I was like, oh, god damn it, reading Rainbow.
Lilac, I just have to ask. I want to know, have you ever seen The Rain?
Of course I have.
Excellent. So, who voices these one-shot characters, Jamal?
I'm saving Aoi for last for reasons. Uranosuke is voiced by Clifford Chapin, our ADR director, one of. Shido is voiced by Brent April. Okiku is voiced by Sarah Wiedenheft. Hiyori is voiced by Tia Ballard. And Aoi is voiced by Caitlin Glass. Clifford Chapin, you've also heard as Keita Suwabuki, Good Luck Girl, and Katsuki Bakugo in My Hero Academia. In April, you've also heard as Ritsu in Assassination Classroom and Nene Sakura in New Game. So we did have, you've heard as Asusa Murasaka in Orange, and Lily Hoshikawa in Zombieland Saga. See about you've heard as Happy Fairy Tale, and of course, the Nami Mimosa or Kami-sama Kiss. Speaking of Kami-sama Kiss.
Heck yeah! One of my favorite teams.
Caitlin Glass, you've heard as Haruhi Fujioka in Oran High School Host Club, and Eugene in Nomad of Nowhere. So,
that's another show where she got mistaken for the wrong gender.
I wouldn't exactly say mistaken, but... you mean the host club.
Oran.
Okay.
Oran, she did.
Oran, yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna be honest. I actually dumbfounded that was Caitlin Glass's Aoi.
Me too, actually.
I know, right?
Like, I feel like I've got a pretty good idea of what Miss Glass's vocal register is at this point, and even that one, I was like, wow,
and then
shit.
she pulls this. And it's like, wait a second, hold on.
This is not Pinky.
No. It's like, I remember when I was watching this show simuldubbed, and I don't remember ever looking up that Aoi was Caitlin. I might have, and it might have just completely escaped me. But when looking at this again, and I saw it was Caitlin, I'm like, hold on, wait, that actually is?
I'll agree with you. In fact, I thought that Aoi at first was a different actress who we'll talk about later in this cast list. So that also took me a little by surprise. But it shouldn't too much because over the years I've been incredibly impressed by Caitlin's range.
No, yeah, for sure.
Like, she's totally capable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, to really drive the point home, Aoi's entire existence as a not quite sure what gender they are character really does help develop Ren and Natsume's character arc a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I like the part that they, in a show that's this nudity friendly, you would think that characters that are, like, unconventional for their gender would be kind of looked down upon, like, oh, you're flat-chested, we must mock you for that. Or, oh, you're a boy who's feminine, we must mock you for that. But they really don't do that, especially with Aoi's portrayal. Like, they're surprised at first that Aoi's actually a boy. Like, that's the joke. But it's not played up as a joke that that he's unmasculine, especially because he wants to be a sumo wrestler.
Right.
If anything, Ren's just relieved. It's like, it's just a sky. I have a shot. Cool, we're good.
It's like, oh, okay. There's no competition here. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
It's just like, okay, yeah, no, like, she swings for the home team hard. Anyways, Uranosuke, oink oink, oink oink, oink oink oink.
That's what I put down was
oink oink.
Hey,
Oink.
It feels like
I hope I made my point across.
I think Uranosuke's inclusion feels very obligatory because a lot of anime will have one episode devoted to introducing an animal side character, and that character never gets development after that. They're just in the background. They are just a cute side animal, and you get one actor to make animal noises throughout the duration of the show.
Listen here. Cliff made cute, adorable piggy noises, and it's wonderful.
He made cute. He made cute piggy noises. Yes,
he
indeed.
Was cute.
I was gonna say his role is basically to become Okiku's legs.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I actually feel kind of bad we're talking about Okiku here because most everybody else in the show is basically a one-off. Okiku basically becomes a main cast member.
Right, the only issue is there's no real place to put her considering...
No, I agree. I'll get to her in a second. Yeah. Tia Ballard as Hiyori, she does a good job weaving that web.
Love Tia.
I like the kind of like... Her. She's very sweet, she's very hardworking and diligent. I like when she finally gives in and it's like, oh, I want to hear the song, or, ooh, I want to have a snack.
Tia kind of gives Hiyori, like, this such calming and gentle tone. And this predates a few other roles that kind of use more of a mature sounding tone, like your 02, for example. But this is one of the more calm, more gentle performances for Tia, and I just outright loved every second of it, honestly.
It's impressive because her character is defined as being kind of cold and distant.
Yeah.
Because she's so hardworking that you would expect her to have more angsty, maybe slightly gruffer voice at the beginning, which would change later on. But no, even in her first couple of lines, her voice is just hushed, like you were saying. But it's still very emblematic of the character of someone who's trying to reach up to their siblings level, going back to the sibling rivalry thing.
That's
someone who does not feel as good. Like, what was it? Her oldest sister had all the talent, the middle one had all the speed, and
no. Her youngest had the speed. She was the odd middle child that didn't really have either of their abilities.
Okay. So, yeah, so that I think Tia really gets Hiyori's entire personality, and kudos to the art direction, because you'll notice that in that second half of the episode the colors are all washed out.
I thought that was cute.
It's a fun different tonal change animation wise, and I think it works very well, especially considering at the end where Hiyori reveals the rainbow and then all of the color comes back into the world.
The Skittles took over again. It was such a great reveal.
Listen, y'all bitches gotta taste the rainbow somehow, right?
That we did, especially that lemon flavor.
So let's talk about the character that made me realize this show isn't just a kind of like this kind of like a mystical, slightly horny show, and made me realize, oh no, this one might actually be something special. Let's talk about Shino.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That entire episode, that entire portion of episode, because I had actually heard about this before, about people who have dolls made for those who lose their children young and kind of just can't let go. I had heard about this phenomenon before, especially in like a death and dying course in college. But seeing her mother, as well as seeing the child that never was getting to live the life she was always meant to. Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. And Bryn does a great job. Like, I feel like you can tell, like, when some of these characters age up, like, you hear them age up. You hear Bryn literally play the entire age range of Shino in, like,
newborn,
half an episode.
Newborn, toddler, child, teenager, adult. She gets to flex her entire vocal range, essentially, and make this character grow in a span of, like, 10 minutes, basically.
Oh, and she does it spectacularly, seamlessly, and it breaks my goddamn heart. Goddamn.
It was all, I think what really makes that hurt so much is that you're not really sure what's going on at first. Like, you get... There's an older guest who's making a dress, and you're like, okay, that's cool. And at the same time, little kid character running around the screen. And it's not until, like 2 minutes before the end that you connect the dots, like, oh no.
And not only that, but her mom passes on too after the fact when she's finally done with the wedding dress at the end. Oh, my heart.
It's like she could finally let go. It's like, fuck, dude.
She was finally able to be the mom that she's always wanted to be. So, it's very sweet.
Ever.
And Sarah Wiedenhef is just a perfect little bitch gremlin.
It's like we go from sentimentality and such precious moments to fuck this little bitch gremlin.
Oh no, she's great.
Oh no,
Okay, not fuck this little bitch gremlin, but here's the little bitch gremlin. Let's go.
She gets Jessied from Toy Story. That would fuck you up.
Oh
No, that's a different character that we're gonna. Are we gonna?
No.
Yes, we are. In the
No.
next, in the second.
She gets her happy ending. This one doesn't.
When somebody leaves.
Okay, we're gonna get copywritten if you start going this route.
Oh please!
Yeah,
When would Disney make frivolous copyrights about things that they don't actually really own?
Every time.
I don't think Randy Newman would come sue us.
So he thinks.
I'm making a joke because I literally have been in copyright striking the Loki stuff lately, despite the fact that Loki has been a mythological character for hundreds to thousands of years.
I think I'm gonna have to put this on the Patreon only episode.
Oh, come on. Look, what are they gonna do? Stab me? Says man who was stabbed.
Tonight,
anyway, since I was...
Sarah Wiedenheft is great. Okiku is a cute little gremlin child. I love her. And I hope she doesn't get her hair cut off. Anyways, moving on. I'm done.
Anyway, y'all good? Because
I'm about to say, I think the three of us just said the majority of our thoughts, and then poor Jamal hasn't gotten to say anything.
Yeah.
Pretty much most of yeah, so pretty much most of y'all said my thoughts. So we'd have was a little good bit gremlin, creepy doll. It sounds like joke that it's pretty much like if you follow Sarah Wiedenheft's Twitter, but you know, she at the end of the day, Okiku's a gentle and kind person, so is Sarah, and Sarah did a very good job as this character.
Yeah.
Clifford Shakespeare is a good piggy. He's not a big red pig, he's a little green pig that's treat me to marry.
Fuck! I got that when you said it. I'm like, oh
no! Cliff does very well. Caitlin Glass's Aoi. Yeah, that was a hell of a surprise. Like, that's when you think you get a grasp on Caitlin, she pulls something out of left field. Like, not as much as the Australian accent in Africa Salary Man, but it was very fucking impressive. I mean, we're talking about Little Boy. It was very impressive. Yeah, you're gonna have to watch Africa Salary Man to get that.
I do. It's been on my to-watch list since it came out.
Yeah, Tia Ballard is Hiyori. Yeah, she's very common as well. It kind of reminds me of when we talked about her last stuff, the last episode. She has a similar. It's kind of a combination of her usual voice and the tone she took in Bofuri. It's a combination.
Yeah, this predates Bofuri too. So yeah,
I know it predates Bofuri, but the fact that it should be common, especially when the whole setting, the art colors that Noah pointed out is kind of muted.
Yeah.
For a very fresh tone when everything was just like uplifted all of a sudden. But I do agree that but of course the standout here is Brandon Shino, because yeah, that episode made me to a little bit. It's also one of the episodes I realized that's a kind that the dimension they're in is kind of a limbo between heaven and earth.
Yeah, I think this is the first time we see human characters interacting.
Yeah, and you got. I kind of wondered like how is this exactly gonna work, because it didn't make it entirely make sense to me about the kid rapidly aging, and then Kiri comes with the exposition, and all of a sudden it makes sense.
No, yeah.
Also, Hiyori gives us the good lesson for the episode. Don't overwork yourself, people. Don't be part of the slave wage economy. Take breaks, eat your onigiri, and take good care of yourselves.
Also, I have fighting words about that Bryn being the best character of the section. It is clearly Cliff is the piggy. That is wrong. It is clearly Urinosuke.
Look, I understand Cliff brings home the bacon, but come on.
Shit.
We love you, Cliff.
How about this? We'll say that Urinosuke is the best character, but Shino is the most memorable.
I mean, she's up there, but personally, I think Hiyori is probably a bit more memorable to me, weirdly enough. But, yeah, Shino is definitely up there, though.
Yeah, Shino's entire arc, that was a kind of a hard episode to watch once I realized where they were going with that. Because as someone who also lost a daughter after being only alive for 3 days, that was rough to watch. But it was cathartic to know that you do need to let go after a while, and that it's healthy to grieve. It really is to do that. And so it's kind of nice seeing that they acknowledge some people are able to do that through this holiday, this Shinchoku-san holiday, and others just need mythological means to reconnect with their daughter.
Yeah. What got me was not only the daughter, because I lost a cousin years ago. I'll gonna explain that off after recording, but also the old woman, when the old woman passed, that was also touching to me as well, because I also lost my grandma. And, like, losing family members
in general can be hard.
It's
always.
It's very tough. And, man, I thought this episode was harder than episode 8 came, but it's not gonna be as hard. But it was damn hard when I realized what they were going for. Because with episode 8, are we going to move on first of all?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't think when you got talked. So I think that was a very heartwarming and memorable section we talked about. But can we have a section that's maybe not so heartbreaking in the next section, Jamal? Maybe.
I think you're gonna be hard pressed to find that one.
Yeah.
All right, bring on the tears.
Bring on one of Andrew's favorite episodes.
Okay, yeah, what the fuck? How does this work as well as it does?
Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about episode 8, the Matsumoto family, which consists of Rei, who's basically a compulsive liar, but she kind of gets fun out of telling her lies to the point that nobody believes her anymore. I kind of realized the moment I saw the slippers, I think she might have tried to commit suicide.
Oh, she
absolutely did.
That is a very shorthand. Not subtle about it.
It's only when she's in limbo and she talks to Yuzu that she really come out of it. Her and her friend, who's played by Megan Shipman. We also meet her dad later on, who we don't know is her dad, well, actually her stepdad. Compulsive smoker is also in limbo due to a car accident he encountered, which we learned through Rei's mom was an accident at work which resulted in the loss of his eyesight.
Yep.
He's very proud of his daughter. Wouldn't do anything for her. And then he encounters he has a funny little chat with a small character named Kaito.
Oh, Kaito, precious bean.
Kaito, you learn that he's not as different as Rei's dad. Pretty much his family dynamics is unusual. He feels that he's not needed, like his path in life is tracked by somebody else. And then you come to find out that Rei's dad's accepted of him, because you learn that throughout the back half of the episode, Kaito is a dog.
Yeah.
What?
Kaito's a dog, and he's trained to be a seeing dog for the blind.
As it turns out, they probably wouldn't normally just rip a, kindergarten-age child out of his parents' house.
Yeah. The parents that they were referred to for Kaito is actually his foster family, so...
Yeah.
Which is kind of spoiled. It's spoiled if you watch the show with the subtitles on, or the closed captioning on, because they very specifically labeled the mom and dad foster mom and foster dad.
Oh, really? So
they do.
Okay, so the English decides to make it a bit more subtle than that. So that's actually a good change.
Or at least the closed cap.
That's actually a good change. I like that.
It's less the fact that the subs spoil it intentionally, and more that they in the script or something, it was probably listed as that, when they were happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kaito finds happiness later on, because it turns out he's adopted by Rei's dad, who of course is ended up blind from his car accident.
So precious. I love it.
I actually super adore the fact that sometimes when they do two half stories in an episode, it's okay, they were two different chapters of the manga that they just kind of shoved into an episode.
This one kind
together.
of links together.
Yeah.
This one actually makes the entire package worthwhile come together in the end, and I really applaud the effort for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, one of the ways you find out connected is that Ray ends up going to art school and draws picture books for a living.
Yeah.
One of which the dad has in his house.
That's how you know the connection for sure. Like, that's 100% confirmed that Ray is, in fact, the daughter.
That's how you also know that she was a limbo, because you look at the Fox her character's talking to.
And they're not only connected by the events, but they're also connected by the lesson, where both Ray and her dad have to face that no matter how pressing your problems are, you should never run away from them.
Pretty much. Playing these three. Ray is voiced by Macy Ann Johnson. Her stepdad, is voiced by Marcus Stibbick. And Kaito...
Marcus.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
And Kaito actually has two voices. For the younger self, who we see most of the time, we have Alison Victorin. And for the older self, we have Justin Brider.
Basically, puppy to big boy.
To big doggo.
Yeah.
Good big
Borker.
Big Borker. Bork.
Macy Ann Johnson, you've also this little Yoko in the helpful Fox Seiko-san, Ako Hatoda, Hardcore Alice in Magical Girl Racing Project, and she was recently announced as Hoenn in Show by Rock Bashu Mairesh. Marcus Stibbick, you've heard of this Ryoba Tarasaka in Assassination Classroom. How the hell did I misspell assassination?
That's a lot of S's, okay?
It's true. A lot of S's.
I just want to say that you could have hidden that mistake. You just made that public.
I just noticed that. Yeah. Mayuta Ado Chiyoskuro, the Dr. Giovanni Fire Force.
Oh, fuck Dr. Giovanni. Fuck him. I hate him. Marcus is great, but fuck Dr. Giovanni.
Alison Victorin, you've heard this Kuroko Shirai, the Raildex franchise, Shoda Makatsuchi in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and QT in Space Dandy. Justin Brider, you've heard this Kid Roll in Dr. Stone, Deku in My Hero Academia, and Hanako-kun in Toilet Bound Hanako-kun.
Jamal, I'm very sorry here, but Jamal, I know that we don't have to list every single credit that someone has done.
We would not! I'm just picking out only the important ones, so...
Well, if you're going to talk about Alison Victorin voicing a young boy character, how could you not mention Detective Conan?
God damn it.
Do you know how many boy characters she's voiced?
A lot.
That are
All of them. Every one of them.
We ain't got time for that.
We ain't got time.
That's fair
We
enough.
ain't got time.
Listen,
we gotta
listen to
move
me.
on.
Listen to me. Listen to me, though.
All right.
Listen to me.
Okay.
I'm the captain now, okay?
Look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now. Oh, shit. I am the captain now.
All right.
I know. Why don't you go first?
Oh, I'd love to, because this
Talk about the goodest of boys.
Yeah, this family dynamic is it's interesting. I'll focus on the voice acting here. So you guys were saying that this was one of Macy's first named roles in voice acting. It's interesting because her delivery for Ray is actually not what I had expected, because I expected with Ray's lying tendency versus her like depressing state that she would have very distinct voices between the like clearly lying to people, making up stories about I'm a mermaid or I was shipwrecked, but then have like a more somber voice for her what's actually bothering her. But the way that Macy delivers Ray's lines is interesting because it's like it's a little hopeful when she's in the more depressing parts there. It's almost like, yeah, she's down because the world is not treating her well and she's not happy with the way that her boring life is going, but there's still that twinge of optimism there, like that energy that gives her the spirit to make up stories is still carrying her a little bit. And that's not something I got from the Japanese from my memory, so I kind of commend Macy for going that interesting direction with her delivery of Ray's lines. I don't know if you guys like got a similar vibe from her delivery.
So
Something like it.
kind of, but at the same time though, given the fact that, I mean, Ray obviously decides, you know what, I'm gonna commit suicide, so that's a thing.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah,
They don't explicitly say it, but the fact that they show her shoes
at the
on
cliffside,
the
yep.
cliffside, it's like that's
It's
very
like,
much
yeah,
the implication.
yeah. I mean,
How many times does Yuzu brush with death throughout the entire show?
a lot.
Like
At least once
she
an
takes
episode.
She takes a wrong turn in Albuquerque, and she's almost in hell.
God.
Like, at least 3 different times throughout the series.
Yeah, 3 different times. No, but,
You gotta keep a leash on that girl, shit.
My thing is with Macy, I would say a lot of it comes back to Ray's compulsive lying, you know? And, because I understand that you kind of heard that a bit of optimism and you weren't expecting it. If she's such a compulsive liar, she's gonna lie about how she's feeling.
Oh yeah, I was actually just thinking that when you were bringing it up. It's like, would she not even know the difference between like if she's feeling happy or sad?
Right.
Yeah,
like,
she does. She can't even. That's what compulsive symptoms are like. Yeah, you don't even realize you're doing them.
No, yeah, it's. I don't think it's not that she doesn't realize just she's doing it. She's doing it just so she can still like. It's like putting on a face to show like, yeah, I'm perfectly fine. Nothing is wrong. And I can't speak for everybody who goes through like depression or things like that, but like depression sucks, and a lot of times people try to, yeah, people tend to mask how they're feeling just so they can like, usually either a mix of get through the day or not have people worry about them. So they'll just pretend everything is hunky-dory, and I think that's kind of the direction that Macy went with Ray, and I actually think it works really well. So.
But yeah, I think Macy does have a very interesting tone of voice, though I feel like you can definitely hear it a little bit, whereas she sounds good, but you can definitely hear that this is definitely her early work for sure.
Yeah, because I know because what I usually hear in something nowadays is on the high end, it sounds something close to like something like Jill Harris, I would say, but on the low end, this sounds something close to Felicia Anja.
There's an interesting cause and effect when you are really new to the voice acting game.
Yeah,
you don't have a typecast yet.
Right.
It's basically finding yourself and finding what you are most comfortable working with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't have a typecast yet, but at the same time, it's like certain notes go off in your head. It sounds like, wait a minute, I think I heard this before. Then you find out it's not who you think it is.
Yeah,
so.
Jamal, it's interesting you kind of compared like the tone of voice to like a Felicia or a Jill. In terms of this role, I would, in terms of other roles that Macy has done since this, I actually, and I wrote this down as a note for myself, I equate this to a Chie from Higurashi. Like, the tone is, because you said yourself, we're a lot of roles that Macy has had since then is more of like, a little bit of a higher register, more of like the peppy, upbeat kind of girls. Ray, this is not. She has those moments, but the tone itself reminds me a lot of Chie from the new Higurashi show. So,
you know who does have a type though?
Uncle Marcus.
Yeah.
I miss Uncle Marcus. I was talking about Uncle.
He's not gone. We just miss him.
We just don't get to hear him much.
I was gonna say, you were saying that where it's like, I miss Uncle Marcus.
Wow.
It's like, babe, he's not dead.
No, it's like that scene from Brother Bear. Sometimes I can still hear his voice.
That's where that comes from.
Oh my god.
It's actually, it's kind of funny I bring up the new show by Rock. It's actually a scene like that at the beginning.
Oh. I still need to watch that new show by Rock. I gotta watch a lot of freaking
There's
things.
so much to watch, dudes.
Everybody's been freaking catching up this
In fact, while we're recording this, we should just stop this recording and go watch Show by Rock.
Okay,
Be back in a minute, guys.
Wow, I cannot believe we watched that entire show and have come back and can do an entire book report analysis on Show by Rock.
Aren't you glad that we got to watch another furry show in this?
But anyway, Marcus Stevick.
It was amazing.
Anyway, Marcus Stevick.
He's very good. He has very tired dad energy, but you can tell he's not like asshole dad. He's just grumpy. Like, he's not a bad person. He's actually hardworking that truly loves and cherishes his family.
I don't even think grumpy's the right word to describe it.
I mean, he is when he's being kicked out,
Well,
I feel like, but...
I would kind of describe it, especially with his interactions with Kaito, is more tired.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that
that
makes
is
a better
tired.
description than grumpy to me.
He's worked hard, he's done
Yeah.
his best, and even now that he's old and weary, he can't live the life that he used to live anymore.
And
he has to come to terms with that.
I always find it interesting for certain actors that get the chance to play out of their normal typecast. Because, listen, typecasts are fine and dandy, but sometimes it also sucks because you're kind of stuck in this box. Marcus sometimes tends to be in that box where he's usually like the bully or like the tough gangsta thug or things like that. But this is very different, and I know I usually say fuck Dr. Giovanni, but like Dr. Giovanni is another instance where he gets to actually like play with his range a bit more. And
That was insane. Yeah.
Oh, as much as I hate Dr. Giovanni, Marcus is wonderful as Dr. Giovanni. But this is definitely one of those cases where it's a different kind of role and performance that Marcus gets to play, and I honestly loved it.
Also, what was that line about, like, hell not wanting him or something like that? I'm trying to remember how that went.
I wish I'd
he thought that he woke up in heaven, and it turns out he was a little boy. Kiri says, see, hell wasn't ready for you yet. So,
They didn't watch it yet.
Hell couldn't contain him, which is good because
nothing contains Uncle Marcus.
this was a very good performance. I would definitely say that he really did a good job with the good dad energy, tired dad energy, but strong dad energy.
Good tired dad energy.
yeah.
And then surprise pupper.
And it's...
You're very surprised.
What
Papa.
was up with the... Because I was so used to this show, like, being very clear about who are animal characters and who are human characters, because, you know, you give them the fox ears or the rabbit ears. But with this character, it's a puppy, but we don't realize that until the last 60 seconds of the episode.
Yeah.
Which I actually did like that twist, and I feel like something I'll say is I think that the show does a fine job putting like half episodes, or basically putting like 2 or 3 chapters in the same episode. Does a good job like having them in the same episode, but I don't think it always has the best job making like a cohesive connection. This one is like the best because it is 2 separate stories that come together to connect to the whole family, and I think that was a nice surprise all around.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I think episode as a whole was the only intent to connect those stories together. Everything else was just circumstance based.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. But I think even just having that one little instance of connectivity between the two.
It kind of makes it a more complete, like a complete story in its way.
That and the fact that Konohanatei existing in basically limbo is you can play with the perception of time a lot.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yes.
Because it's clear, like, when Rei was a teenager is not the same time period where her father got into the accident and lost his eyesight. She is clearly an older woman now and a published author.
Absolutely.
Like, time can be played around with in really interesting ways, and I enjoy that. But yeah, I'll say Allison does a good job playing a good little goober shitlord. And Justin Ryder does a very good job sounding like a very well-behaved, preppy man. Which I love that he just he's just a little shrimp lord, and then he's older and he's carrying Yuzu. I'm like, oh, that's adorable. And then he's just a dog, which I'm like, I appreciate the twist that it being a dog, but man, I'm a fucking sap.
He started crying when he was watching it.
It was just so touching. It was like meant to be, and then it's like they were helping each other in their time of need, where he had lost hope and he had found a purpose and new purpose, and he was his buddy and they were buddies and they met before they knew they were buddies.
Are you tearing up right now, babe?
No, I had some onions from food earlier in my eye.
The onions were cooked, you bastard.
Now see, this is what the All Dogs Go to Heaven sequel should have been
God
about.
damn it.
Oh, good God.
I don't know that one.
Anyways, I figured it's worth noting if dogs don't go to heaven, then what the fuck is the point?
We need a Twitter account. Can you pet the dogs in heaven?
Wow.
See that might get in trouble with the church, but still.
Good luck with that one.
I don't know if the Pope has a dog or not. Anyways, I agree. Allison's performance is fitting for Kaito's precarious puppy self. Before we find out that he is a puppy. I was actually mentioning before that I thought Allison was going to be elsewhere in the show. I thought that Allison was going to be Aoi, actually, the one who wanted to learn sumo wrestling.
You know, I could see that.
Yeah, because Allison is cast as boy characters a whole lot. And, well, she is in this as well. But, I mean, like, ones that are human? That's not the point. Allison's handles both halves of Kaito really well. Like, I like how she's got that uppity, I got an important job, and I'm actually better than the servants who work in this hotel meanness. But then when Kaito gets nicer and actually dips into comfort dog levels, especially with Rei's dad, it's the same character, obviously, but just speaking in a very different way. Like, the speech pattern's a little bit different. That's really hard to do, to have the same character speak in two different ways and still be identifiable.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Ah, damn it.
What?
I thought to myself, maybe I should submit Kaito to Anime Dog of the Day. He's already there.
Of course. Of course. Look, Katie and Danny are on that shit. They know the good boys when they know the good boys and the good girls when they see them. They're on that shit.
Oh, man. Oh! You want to know something that I noticed? I don't know if anybody else noticed this. So, when we see older Kaito, aka Justin, you know he has his suspenders, right? That he wears?
Yeah.
My brain, because I didn't catch this the first time, because obviously the whole twist was like, holy shit, he's a seeing eye dog. So, the suspenders to, like, kind of equate to Kaito's harness. Visually. Like his harness for, the handle that, Rei's dad uses to, like, hold on to Kaito in order to, like, for Kaito to do his job and guide him around.
Now, see, that makes way more sense, because my original theory was that he was supposed to have, like, lederhosen like the Germans wear.
I was gonna say,
like, is he German Shepherd?
Before we record this episode, you thought he was a German Shepherd. I was like, what?
He looks more like a golden retriever, Noah.
He does. So your theory on the harness being the suspenders makes way more sense.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what were they gonna do? Put him all in, like, mustard yellow?
Were we making him Colonel Mustard?
Oh, God, no.
Whoa.
Colonel Mustard. Older Kaito in the Konohanatei. No, in the public bath with the lederhosen. I don't know.
Okay, when you said Colonel Mustard, I heard Colonel Mustang, and I'm like, oh wait, are we turning this? Are we turning this that he is a lieutenant in the tiny miniskirt army?
Yes.
Yes.
Shit, I love it.
I love dogs.
I love dogs.
The man is a man of taste.
He is a man of taste. He loves dogs. And he loves the miniskirts.
He loves dogs, miniskirts, and genocide.
Oh no!
No!
I'm just saying, don't give Colonel Mustang too much credit. Let's not forget all of his crimes.
What? Okay.
Spoiler for Fullmetal Alchemist.
What spoilers?
How is that a spoiler?
He's a word. Okay, we don't. There's not enough time in the day, Mr.
No more
Clue.
spoilers anymore.
She was almost 20 years old. Oh, the original is fuck. Brotherhood's like over 10 years old now. Fuck. Lord.
You feel old yet?
Shambhala still sucks. Moving on.
Oh shit.
I think we can agree this was a good family episode, and like you said, they tie together really well as two halves of the story that you don't realize were two halves of the same story until the very end.
Yeah.
And I really like every episode has a moral to it. Usually Yuzu says the moral of the episode. And this one, this episode 8 was, no matter how pressing, never run away from your problems.
Yep.
And that's something that all 3 of the characters eventually got over.
Yeah.
So
yeah, basically.
it fits on multiple levels.
Heck yeah, it does. Anything else, or are we moving on, Jamal?
I think we're good, because I think everybody echoed each other's sentiment at this point.
It's a very good episode. Kaita's a good pupper. That's it.
Yes.
Oh, I'll end on one final thing. I want to give big props to our writer. I want to give Deborah Kane big props here. This one line. I may have pulled her tail, but she wasn't pulling my leg.
Oh yeah, that was a good line. That was from Ray, I think.
That was from Ray.
That was a good line. I like it.
So, again to the last of our one-offs, save for one character in the main section. We have the goddess Awanami, the doll Lily, a Kenzoku by the name of Yanagi, and the goddess she serves, Inari. Awanami is a high-ranking goddess, daughter of Izanami Izanagi, drops by the Konohanatei unexpected. We come to find out that she's about to approach the rebirth. You know, goddesses are immortal, they can't die, they can only be reborn. So she's
the goddess of bubbles to help with context.
So yeah, so she's in the spa getting scrubbed by Red, and then after a while she ends up turning into scrubbing bubbles.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean. I say that and I cut my hair today, but
Timing. That's timing though.
Oh man. Yeah, so it's up to the crew to put her back together. Lily is a doll that was discarded by accident. She's saved by Okiku, who pretty much tries to convince her that humans don't need her anymore. Lily tells her that all these scars and chips she's endured is basically precious memories from when she was played with as a child. As a child approaches adulthood, that pretty much ends their life cycle basically. Which that episode was kind of sad. And,
no, yeah.
That was up there with the Brave Little Toaster in terms of sad things getting thrown away.
That episode was also kind of awkward for reasons, but
the show is charming and awkward in many ways, but yeah.
I was watching that episode. My dad walked in on that, watching Sarah We Did Have Cried. He was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
I'm sure in his head he was like, small purple haired crying for Japanese doll. What?
What is this, son? What is this nonsense?
At least it wasn't Among Us on YouTube. He saw so.
How would that be less awkward?
Well, it depends on who's
Don't
playing it.
Anyway, so we also have.
God damn it!
Shut up. Anyway, we also have Yanagi and Kenzoku, a wish granter basically, who grants other people's wishes. It's kind of parading to Yuzu when she accidentally comes into this world. It turns out Yuzu ended up getting lost at the end of episode 12.
As she
does every fucking
like
episode.
Hey, it happens.
Who could?
At least this time she didn't get so close to fucking hell again. So I guess a little bit
No,
of progress.
No, but she went back in time through the Torii gates somehow. But
I mean, at least she didn't almost cross the river Styx or get whisked away by fucking ghosts or what was the other?
Turned into a tree.
Well, at least 2 out of 3 of those, Krista McGuire rescued her. So anyway,
yes.
We also have the goddess Yanagi serves as Inari. I'll be honest, she comes off to be like kind of lazy because she hears this idea of the Konohanatei only for you, the viewer, to discover that it does not exist in this world. It's just an idea that was perpetuated by Yuzu, but more on that later.
Hence the time travel bit.
Hence the time travel. But she becomes intrigued to the point. To the point that, like, she does nothing else but think about the Konohanatei.
Yeah, she's like, a hot spring? We should make a hot spring! And then there's another person we're talking about shortly.
And then it was history.
And they're just like, why do you... No, why are we doing a hot spring?
Also, like...
Bitch, why?
So is Yuzu a paradox?
It's basically...
Yuzu paradox, yeah.
I guess if I was to put it this way, I would think maybe Yuzu's kind of like the Doctor from Doctor Who, in a sense.
Yuzu is a Time Lord! Theory confirmed!
Oh, don't act like you can't hear Yuzu's actress saying the phrase wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
Now I want it now. Hang on, let me make a phone call really quickly. I gotta get this.
Oh no!
Please let me know how that turns out, bud.
I'm just hoping for voice commissions to get replayed. These four. Awanabi's played by Natalie Rose. Lily's played by Rachel Michelle Thompson. Yanagi's played by Michelle Rojas. And Inari's played by Alexis Tipton. Natalie Rose, you've also heard as Syrup in both of me. So you never minded Danganronpa 2 and Danganronpa 3, the anime.
The goodest of turtles, Syrup. I'm sorry.
Zero context. Zero.
She voiced a turtle. That's all you need to know.
Oh, was it Leonardo?
Sure.
Oh.
Yes. I guess.
I bet it was Leonardo.
And Yakusha Kure and How Heavy the Dumbbells You Lift. Rachel Michelle Thompson, you've heard as Chika Hatsui in The Ancient Magus Bride, Lilac in Recovery of an MMO Junkie, and Colette in Conception.
Sorry, I thought you called for me for a second. I'm like, wait, hold on. I heard Lilac,
No,
I'm like, I lifted up my head, I'm like, huh?
Nah, I just call you Steph at that point.
I know, I was like, wait, you never call me Lilac, you usually only call me Steph. I'm like, hang on, what happened?
Have you not seen Confessions of an MMO Junkie?
It's Recovery of an MMO Junkie, and no. I have not.
That as well. I think you'd like it. I'd highly recommend watching it. It's short and sweet.
I keep being told I would, and Andrew's like, we need to get you to watch it sometime.
We really
You two
do.
in particular, there's a reason why you two in particular would like it.
I'm sorry,
you were saying,
anyway, Yanagi?
I think yeah, Michelle Rojas, she's also voiced Toka Yada in Assassination Classroom, Toka Miyashita and Boogie Pop and others, and because it's just me, Toka Yada got me a day alive.
Yay, Boogie Pop.
Alexis Tipton, you also heard as Iris in Fire Force, Gina Boyd in How Heavy the Dumbbells You Lift, and Fennec Fox in Kimono Friends.
Oh yeah, Fennec Fox. That idiot. Oh no, that's not Fennec Fox. That's fucking, that's Maddie's character who's the freaking pain in the ass.
Yeah, the raccoon.
Thank you, yes. Fennec Fox is just like, the fuck you doing? That's what it is.
We never did get an answer to how heavy the dumbbells were that she lifts. I was waiting for that answer the whole show.
A considerable amount.
Fair enough.
So, you ever just crash your bud's place and decide, I'm gonna die and be reborn and fuck with her employees?
I mean, once or twice, I guess.
I'm saying, like...
Everybody's wanted to do it once.
Like, poor Red must have trauma now.
Because all Ren dreams of is serving one of the gods, and then fucking Awanami's coming in fucking your shit up.
Kiri just pulls her aside. Look at that poor lesbian. She has trauma now.
How dare you?
But yeah, Natalie is nice and soft-spoken. Very sultry, very, I'd almost say hazy, and yes, bubbly.
God damn it.
Duh.
No, yeah, like,
I
it's, Natalie's voice, it's certainly much lower registered than what you normally hear from her. Because Natalie, we talked about Macy Ann Johnson having, like, using a higher pitch most times. That's more Natalie's wheelhouse. Like, Natalie's voice is usually pretty up there, given the characters, and very breathy as well. But her tone of voice and the breathy quality that she usually has in her voice, I think actually gives Awanami this kind of, this adds a little bit like a mystical kind of, not necessarily
ambiance.
regal. Yeah, like an ambiance to her. Like, gives her a bit more presence. And, like, you can tell, like, this is an otherworldly being that, like, this is a god, basically. And that just works so freaking well, honestly. And I kind of wish we got lower tone Natalie more often than we do. I'll say it.
Yeah. It is kind of weird that it's not her usual light and airy voice.
Right.
It's kind of deep and chocolatey, if you will. Like
it is.
Like she's really putting some focus into this.
Yeah, chocolatey.
I would at least say
low and rich.
I was gonna say like velvety. I've heard of, but like chocolatey.
Velvet is another way of saying
I
it.
was gonna say you wouldn't want to sink your teeth in that. You'll have like your mouth will taste like bubbles for days.
Your mouth will taste like soap, and nobody wants to eat soap.
Hey, no. Hey, Ralphie had a chance to put his mouth on that soap. I think he would be swearing a lot more often.
Oh shit!
Ow!
That is.
Ow! Someone got hurt.
Just throwing out all the 80s movie references tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys too. Natalie's portrayal of this is exactly what the character needed. I can't remember what the Japanese Awanami's voice was like, but I believe it was pretty similar to this.
I'm gonna guess very ara.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's interesting because a lot of the gods in this show, and there's a couple of gods that show up in 2 episodes later, that God's Day Off episode, where they're clearly supposed to be either trans or cross-dressers. I'm not sure which one the show's going for. But all the gods in the show are very flawed and very, like, they're either lazy or full of themselves. So, yeah, it's kind of nice that Natalie gets to portray the sultrier, more full of herself kind of god.
Also, because we're not going to be talking about him, I just want to shout out Bill Jenkins, like retired war god that's playing around with little Sakura.
I love him.
It is like the cutest thing in the world.
Precious.
Oh, and side note, because Noah brought up those 2 gods, Randy Pullman and David Ward are hilarious.
Yes, they were so good. I loved it.
Oh, they play the gods like old queens. It's like, yeah.
Oh, they are just queens. Yes, queen. Hell yeah. Let's go.
No, I had to walk out of the room, didn't he?
Huh?
Was that Noah that walked out of the room?
Well, that could also be our neighbors stomping around, too.
No, Jamal's right. I had to give kids a banana.
Oh. They want a banana. Banana is perfect.
Yes, they are. Speaking of who else is perfect, Lily is a heartbreaking character. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, no, this...
Yeah.
I actually kind of like the fact that it's like, oh, she doesn't want to hide her blemishes and her wear and tear because that was proof that she lived and she was loved.
Yeah.
And that's, again, that ties into the theme of that episode, because that's the same episode with the gods who are played as old queens, where their mentality is that, you know, they're kind of lamenting for the good old days when people would visit their shrines more often. And but they still cherish the memories of it, just in the same way that Lily, despite being we find out accidentally discarded by her girl, not on purpose, she still cherishes the time that they spent. And Rachel, like, absolutely pulls out the heartstrings there. Like, no mercy. All of the heart punches right there.
Yeah, I have to correct you there a little bit. She was accidentally discarded. The girl's mother discarded her.
Yep.
Yeah.
She only found out after the fact, which was why she was kind of frantically searching for her.
Yeah.
So.
She did get a boyfriend, though.
Also, hi, Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
I don't know who played her boyfriend, but the subtitles on there said all his dialogue is boyfriend A says line so and so, which implies that she's got boyfriends B through Z somewhere else.
Wow.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
What can we say? She really likes her boy toys.
Ooh.
Oh god, that hurt.
Sorry, did you guys have other stuff to say about Rachel's acting?
I mean, I think
she's good.
Very
I'm just gonna walk away while I feel that disappointment in the air.
Yeah, that disappointing stare, because I'm staring with daggers right now. He just feels so proud of himself right now.
It's
Stephanie, stare down your boyfriend A and make him feel the guilt.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. No, weirdly enough, I think out of a rather solid dub, Rachel was a little iffy to me at first. But, I don't know,
okay.
it was a different tone than I was expecting for Lily, but then, like, more processing it now more after the fact, Lily is, like, Rachel makes Lily sound much more doll-like than the other main doll in the damn show.
Oh yeah, she sounds more doll-like
Right.
than Okiku.
Yeah, more doll-like than Sarah's Okiku. Which, putting it in that perspective, makes a lot more sense. And, I mean, I also really enjoyed that part of the episode, too, because, like, I think I have a bigger appreciation for it the second time around, because, like, so, my grandparents recently sold the house, right? Because my grandmother is currently living with my mom. And my mom went up to go through things in the house, get things packed up, all that fun stuff. And I had to go and keep an eye on my grandmother in North Carolina for her at the time. When it was the day that I went back and my mom came back to North Carolina, we saw each other at the airport just as we were like, we kind of crossed paths. She had a couple things for me. One of them was an old doll that I had when I was a little girl.
Aww.
And, like, I call her, I've always called her, Blue Dolly is her name. And, like, she's a little bit worn, some of her stuffing is gone, she has holes in her, she's a little bit, like, dirty and everything like that. I hadn't seen this doll in years. And it's just like, God damn it! Not again! But, no, it's... Like, I have a lot, like, I think the whole storyline with Lily kind of, like, hit me in a different way after I got my doll back. I'm like, okay, yeah, Like, I appreciate that, and I think, despite my original misgivings of how Rachel portrayed it, like, thinking, again, a perspective of, this is a freaking doll.
Yeah.
Like... I think
But it's a doll that was loved, which may explain why it was allowed to cross over into this spirit dimension.
I mean, yes.
Plus,
no, I'm just saying the tone of voice and performance that Rachel gives.
Oh, okay.
It's like, it's a doll, Stephanie. That's the whole fucking point.
Plus the way,
plus
the way I think about it is, you gotta keep in mind, Okiku was like crafted by the finest craftsmen in Japan, so it was on the higher end, as such as kind of has a little high maintenance kind of personality.
Right.
Because at one point they thought the doll was possessed, so
well, it kind of is.
Whereas Lily is probably something like your typical normal like plastic kind of doll, but she was loved in very such a way that, like, even if there were like many of her, you know, this is Lily and no one can take her away from her owner.
Right. It's two completely different circumstances.
Yeah.
And two different upbringings, essentially, between the two, so...
Basically.
But yeah, I think that's a good lesson, actually, the idea that you should cherish the good and the bad times, because at the end of the day, that's all you have sometimes are your memories.
Yeah. I think Rachel did a very good job capturing that. It's kind of funny that this has been a hot minute since I talked about it, because last I talked about her was actually MMO Junkie. That was, again, when the election arc came out.
I think this is the first time I've ever talked about her, maybe.
It's the first time you ever talked about her. I think maybe the second time you ever heard her. So,
well, I haven't watched MMO Junkie, remember?
No, but you did watch both of me. And you remember that mission where Maple was helping out a mother and daughter? She's the daughter.
Oh!
Cool.
Gotcha! I was like, wait, who is she in Beaufort? How did that escape me? Oh god, that quest was insane.
Now I think my dead daughter was also possessed.
Oh, the daughter was so fucking possessed.
It all ties together.
Oh, somehow.
Holy shit.
Ties together even like 3-4 years later. Anyway.
So, we want to talk about Yanagi.
Yanagi.
So this is an interesting episode because Yuzu gets kidnapped.
It's not that she gets kidnapped. She kind of just wanders in. And
she wanders into the Fox time travel dimension and gets roped along because it's like, oh, you're one of us, right? Get in. And then she wasn't. No, and then she almost.
That's discriminating. It's discrimination. Oh, you've got fox ears. You must be one of us.
Yeah, pretty much.
But no, I'll make this brief because I think Michelle did a really good job too. Because she has to be like very no nonsense because their job is really stressful, especially around the New Year's holiday.
Oh, yeah.
But we get to hear all the shades of Yanagi's both her serious business sense and then her empathetic like Yuzu cracks her shell basically by the end of the episode, and we find out what that does actually at the very, very end of the episode, which I don't know, Jamal, if you want me to spoil that or not.
We'll save that for the next section.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. And then, like you were saying before, Jamal, Inari's just kind of a lazy goddess, which honestly, if you had all the powers of a god, wouldn't you be that way a little bit? So I like that Alexis gets to play up the character as not slovenly, but just someone who gets easily distracted. You know, it's like, okay, we've got this group project. Okay, it's due on Friday and it's Thursday afternoon, but Inari's just like, I want to build a hot spring instead.
Yeah.
You had to mention group projects, didn't you?
No.
I don't know what you're getting at.
Oh, the usual group project nonsense from high school, probably. I will say I actually don't really have any notes for Michelle, in all honesty. Probably mostly because there's another counterpart that kind of overshadows her a little bit, and for good reason.
Yeah.
But I did like Michelle. She was good. I liked her as Yanagi. Alexis, I like that because Inari is seen as a goddess, like, I think it's actually appropriate that we're talking about both Inari and Awanami. The whole airy, breathy quality and kind of like this mystique is also a prevalent quality that is in Alexis's performance as Inari. So it kind of gives a consistency with what the gods and goddesses are like and how they could sound. So I kind of really like that consistency between both Natalie and Alexis.
Or at least the goddesses who have shrines devoted to them.
Correct.
Like, I don't think the war god character, I don't think he was...
The war god probably used to have one, but... Because there was a point made in the last episode, too, by another character that, the shrine that she was serving at was destroyed. So it's possible that, like, the war god could have had a shrine, but it could have been destroyed. Because he's basically retired at this point.
Yeah, because they said that with the war gods, because the war that made prevalent wars, like the war they made ongoing wars, like he didn't really have nothing to do.
Right.
That's why he became Sakura's regular. So.
But I do like that the tone and the personality is probably the right way to describe it. With Alexis Tipton is pretty consistent with other goddess characters like Natalie's Awanami. And then when Alexis is all about that hot spring, it's also a fun time. She's like, but a hot spring! We should build one right now! And then fucking Yanagi and everybody else is like, why? What is the point? We have shit to do!
Andrew's gonna get this. It's like when an artist has a deadline and they spend all the time making gyoza instead.
I got that. Let's talk about the foxes.
Yes, let's pause for a sec.
Let's talk about Big Boss Fox.
Oh, Big Boss Fox and spoiler!
Big Foxy Lady.
Yes.
Big Foxy Lady who looks even more foxy when she puts the makeup on, but let's face it, you're here for big wolf energy, so...
Yeah.
I heard all of your foxy conversation. I get it, Andrew. You want to do the fox women. You're into the fox women, not the fox girls.
Listen, I'm the one who made the foxy joke.
It's not like I'm judging or anything. It's just, you know, I'm keeping a record.
Gotta keep a record for later, for more instances, right?
It's called blackmail.
No, it's called.
No,
it's
blackmail
called,
would be me.
Alright, so you have stuff to say about who voices these characters?
Well, we didn't even quite introduce them, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
we gotta talk about the boss, this foxy lady, and the spoiler.
We're gonna sidebar that part. So
spoiler.
So yeah, let's talk about these two. We have Tsubaki, another Kensoku. The thing about her is she kind of mistakenly brings Yuzu to this foxhole in time and space.
Whoops.
Back to the shrine. Because she mistakes her for the Kensoku, and it turns out, find out through her backstory, she's been bounced from shrine to shrine, and her last one was destroyed in a mudslide. Which is weird, because we're also talking about, okay,
yes,
the anime planet and other sources called her Okami, but in the dub she's called Yababa for some reason.
That's so weird.
Well, actually no.
She's referred to more as the boss, though.
This is like the caption refers to her as Yababa, the credits refer to her as proprietress in the Japanese. But she's basically the older of the Konohanatei. Manages her staff
she's
and
the
lives
boss
there too.
Lady.
Yeah,
I
she
say as I
the
drink my
boss
Dub
lady.
Talk Boss Lady mug. Thank you, Hardy, for this years later.
Yes. Yeah, she runs and lives at the Konohanatei, and she reminisces about old times in the past, to which she encountered a little fox girl in a red hood. I wonder where I've seen that before.
Yep.
That's a good question.
It's also
spoilers.
Spoilers.
But
you come to find out. If you manage to pick up you come to find out these two are actually the same person.
Yep. Tsubaki is the younger boss lady.
You just M. Night Shyamalan my ass, Batman.
Pretty much. What did
you just call me Batman?
So
I called you Crazy Joe. Now we can call you Batman.
So bottom line, they were doing spring cleaning. Yuzu finds a really weird scroll with a seal on it. The boss is like, you can throw it out, but Yuzu keeps it. Turns out that scroll is how she got into the fucking shrine and the whole nonsense in the first place. And she was mistaken by Tsubaki because she had that scroll brought in, and then it comes full circle. Yeah, because Tsubaki's like, one of these... Because turns out, Yuzu wrote a wish in the scroll for a home for Tsubaki.
And in return, Tsubaki wishes that the girl always find her way home.
Yes.
Which is sealed in a little Foxfire logo that you kind of see on top of the Okami's head in earlier episodes.
Yep.
So it all comes together. It all comes full circle.
And then, if I'm right, the place where the whole shrine area, it sounds to me like that eventually is what becomes Konohanatei. Because Inari was like wanting to build a hot spring like right fucking there.
I mean, they could... It's not really established if that's the exact location. It's definitely in the same realm.
I think it's implied at least, but it's not confirmed.
The architecture looks similar.
Yeah. I think it's possibly implied that is where Konohanatei eventually resides. But I don't think... They don't fully outright say it or confirm it within the last 3 minutes of the damn show.
Yeah, that's not... The significance of it is that, yes, Uzu unintentionally gives them the idea to create the hot spring.
She's a paradox! A paradox!
Well, let's put it this way. She may be a paradox, but if she didn't travel back in time in the first place, Konohanatei would never have existed.
That is literally the exact definition of a paradox! You just explained the concept of a paradox!
Wait, hold on. Is she a paradox or a parafox?
Shut up.
Damn
I'm
it.
gonna get out of here. Introduce these characters.
Now I am staring at my computer screen in disappointment at Noah.
I can feel the daggers all the way through the internet.
Yes, but enough about parafox. Let's talk about pair of these foxes.
Oh my.
This foxy lady.
I'm just.
Voicing these foxes. Tsubaki's voice. Tsubaki's voiced by Janelle Lutz. Thank you, show. And Okabe's voiced by Linda Leonard. Janelle Lutz, you've also heard as Angelica Varley, the Ancient Magus Bride. Dominique St. Pierre, the Legend of the Galactic Heroes, the Noritese, and Korra in the Morose Mononokean. Linda Leonard, you've also heard as Martha, Maria the Virgin Witch. Shizu and Kono Oto Tomure, Sounds of Life. And Kazusa Takatori in Shonen Maid.
I love Linda Leonard.
Yeah.
I love when Linda Leonard does things. She's so wonderful and precious.
I gotta look it up now because I didn't recognize any of the roles you listed, so I gotta see what else she's done. Carry on.
God, what else has fucking Linda Leonard done?
I'm pulling up the encyclopedia.
She's that bitch in Fruits Basket that enables Akito.
Oh! That's also true. God, Linda has done quite a few things, and she's...
Yeah.
Linda always has this grandmotherly, maternal voice to her. So 9 times out of 10, she's voicing, like, grandmotherly, maternal figures. Sometimes the ones that aren't that good, though. This is different. Like, Okami is not like a mother or a grandmother kind of figure. She's just the boss. Like, she's in charge of the place and she's running a business. And the Okami is just no nonsense. No nonsense, no bullshit. She's all about, like, making sure clients are leave happy and they're good. Though she will defend her staff if someone's being a bit handsy.
Oh yeah, screw that guy. The guy with the upside down face.
Yes.
Yep.
Screw that fucker. It's like, bro, you don't touch Ren in the tush. That is not how this works. That is sexual harassment, sir.
That ass belongs to Natsume and Natsume exclusively.
Also true. No, but it's different. It's a different kind of Linda Leonard that I'm normally used to, because Linda's normally typecast as the mother or a mother or grandmother kind of figure. So I really loved her for sure. Now I have to look this up because what else have you found if you've looked her up at this point?
It's going very slow. Give me a second.
Okay.
But while I'm looking that up,
I'll look it up for you.
I do want to point out that I like the fact that the English cast, the English dub, decided to go with a different voice from what I was kind of expecting, which was the Yubaba voice from Spirited Away.
Yeah.
Which is, that older, cragglier kind of voice. Whereas this Yubaba is much more business-minded and much less conniving because she's got a much pure spirit to her. She's obviously been aged by the years of time, and partially it feels like by the lack of activity in the hotel, because it's kind of implied that, there's less activity than there was in the good old days, but she still takes pride in what they can bring nowadays. So, yeah, I like that they gave, they told Linda to give them an intentionally different portrayal of the same type of character.
No, yeah. Okay, I'm looking through. Oh, right, okay. So... Noah, have you seen Psycho Pass?
Are you gonna kill me if I said I haven't?
I'm not gonna kill you, but it kind of doesn't help things.
Nice.
Cause she is, in Psycho Pass, for those who watch it, she's Joshu Kase, who is in charge of, like, she's the head bitch in charge of, like, the enforcers and the police and that shit. If y'all remember that. She's had smaller roles too, like she was Chisei's aunt in Ancient Magus Bride.
That was a not very nice character.
Noah, have you watched Death Parade?
Yes.
Do you remember the old lady Sachiko, who's the author?
Yes.
I only remember about half of the vignettes from Death Parade, unfortunately.
There was a children's book author in Death Parade, and you come to find out that she's also the author of the book that Jamie's character really loves. So she's... It's from episode 10.
I can envision it in my head, like, imagining what that kind of show was like, and I'm like, I'm sure I did see that, it's just not ringing a bell right now.
because that thing is also episodic as all hell.
I like Big Boss Lady.
Let's talk about Linda some more.
Yeah. You like Boss Lady?
She's tough, cool, really, like, you could tell that she is very serious about this place. She's very serious about the well-being of her clientele and her employees alike. She is no nonsense, no bullshit, and will do what's gotta get done, and I respect the hell out of that. I also just... What a good gag with the makeup.
Yes!
Yeah. Like, that's just such a good... Because I was honestly kind of wondering, what's the difference between those who are just pretty humanoids and, like, full-on furries? And the difference is literally...
makeup.
Age and makeup.
No, it was a funny bit because fucking...
Ren and Natsume are like, how did you do that?
How did you do it? And
well, first I put on some powder.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, what?
And then she's a human person. It's like, and then next, it's like, what the fuck? You just powder yourself and then you're, it's like,
because the episode before that, she's mistaken as another hotel guest when she's hanging out with the two entertainment gods.
And they're like, by the way, who are you? It's like, oh, I'm your boss.
It's like, you didn't fucking know that?
Like, that's just a good gag. But Linda does a good job. I also like Janelle as Tsubaki, aka Baby Her.
Yeah, Janelle is good.
Basically.
It adds a fun, different tone and dynamic to the casting, and considering like the whole point of it is you're not supposed to know that Tsubaki is in fact Okami by the end of the show. Like, having at least a tone that is similar to Linda's.
The personality is reminiscent.
The personality is reminiscent, but having at least a tone that is similar to Linda's, but younger. I think Janelle, like, nails it.
I think that was basically the intent.
No, 100%.
Because I saw I didn't watch the Japanese, of course, but I did see that they actually, in the Japanese credits, they're played by the same actress.
Okay. And they could have done that in English. You know,
I think
less subtle about it.
They probably could have, but I don't know
yeah.
if Linda is capable of doing a more younger sounding voice.
No, if I had to guess, I think they kind of went along with the same spectrum with Janelle. You know, like Janelle will have a more youthful energy, whereas Linda has a world-weary kind of voice.
Yeah.
So
the tones are similar, but Janelle makes it much younger sounding, and it's convincing, I think.
But I don't think that would really come into play until the last episode, where of course, Linda Leonard puts on the makeup.
Oh no,
you know?
yeah. Like you don't I completely forgot that these were the same fucking person, and it's like. You're going through the show for the first time, you probably won't put two and two together. That Okami with the makeup on is in fact an older Tsubaki. Like it's.
Yeah, they don't even have like an inkling of like in the very first episode when Yuzu first meets Okami when she's first brought to the hotel. There's not like even an inkling from Okami like. You remind me of someone.
No. That part was kept like so well. Hidden throughout the whole fucking show.
Yeah,
you gotta remember, it's been God knows how many years it has for her. Plus, you're not even introduced to Tsubaki till episode 12, so...
No, yeah, it's... like, Okami reminisces herself that it was when Yuzu comes back and says that she's happy to be home, because Yuzu now knows, at this stage, who Okami actually is, I think.
I don't think she entirely knows, but I think what kind of clues Okami in a little bit, which is why it was so well hidden, was that red hood.
No, yeah.
Right, which she did not have.
Which she did not have.
Uzu did not have until that episode. Yeah.
Exactly.
So when Okami starts reminiscing, he's like, I like all of a sudden this memory of this young little fox girl in a red hood kind of just comes back to her out of nowhere because of Yuzu. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting connection, and I kind of like the follow through on it, honestly.
So yeah, these both actresses played both halves of the foxy boss lady perfectly well.
And it was a well hidden enough plot line for Okami's character as well.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Andrew, you said your piece?
Yes. I'm ready to talk about the other boss ladies of the hotel.
Okay, we're not on the lesbians yet. Okay.
We'll get there.
She might be.
I mean the overt lesbian.
Let's be real, she's like 50 to 60 years plus. She's dabbled.
Listen, Kiri is at least
yeah.
bi. Kiri's at least...
Sensitive way to put
Kiri
it.
is bare minimum bi.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, every time I think Natsume asks her age, she just kind of changes the conversation, so...
Yeah.
Plus,
like, yes, what wonderful flowers. Hey, did you hear me? We should go inside and get ready for our next guest. Natsume, read the room.
Go make some memories.
Natsume, read the room, you dingus. I love you, but goddamn.
So which possible partial lesbian are we talking about, Jamal?
Well, speaking of reading the room, we have Kiri, head manager and pervert of the Konohanatei.
Yes, she
I wouldn't
is.
say pervert, just troll.
Oh, she is!
No.
What's the first thing she does? She strips down Yuzu and says, my, these are awfully big for such a little fox.
Don't forget the episode with the ghost. When the two Kiris
She's like,
come
you
in
know,
contact with each
I
other.
would mind
How do we tell the
strip searching
difference?
myself.
I'd like to
Listen.
The thought that strip searching myself and searching every inch of my naked body is quite titillating.
Listen, I think that Kiri is more of a troll than anything. She loves messing with people.
After that sentence, Satsuki called her an egotistical pervert.
Also true, but I think Kiri is more of a troll still.
Can't she be both?
Well,
Can't she be
you know
both?
who's really a troll?
Yeah,
is the
why
other
not
girl
both?
in this section.
Oh, Sasuke. No, wait. Sakura.
No,
I get
scissor
their
girl.
names so mixed up. It bugs the shit out of me in this show.
I don't think Sakura's a bit of a troll. She is the quiet type, but
those scissors ain't fooling
If
nobody.
anything, Sakura's just a mischievous and curious little girl.
yeah, mischievous little fox girl doesn't really quite know what to do with herself.
Hey.
It's funny. I think she looks to be working in multiple points. The other time she's just goofing around. I'm just wondering exactly what the deal is, because to me, I kind of get this special needs vibe from her a little, but
Really?
yeah, because you don't really see what Sakura's up to, nor does she say much. But when you do, like, she just has a little fun with the things that go on in life. Like, there was that time when she and Yuzu were out in the pond and she was just blowing whistles with her leaves, and Yuzu blows the big ones. Like, I don't know. I guess she's free spirited, basically.
I think so too. I mean, I believe the intention was that she is the comforting soul that older guests come to see.
Yeah.
Not because they're perverts, but because they enjoy seeing that youthful, carefree energy in a character.
That's
like,
why
that's
the
specifically why
war god, yeah.
the war god comes in and it's like he's. Now, it made me think something wrong at the beginning when someone said he's one of Sakura's regular clients, and I'm like,
why? Why would you do
like,
that?
oh, thank God.
No.
No, why?
Well,
This is a
because-
classy
because-
establishment, thank you.
It is a very classy establishment. you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it is owned by Andrew, so...
But it's.
I'm sorry, what?
It is also.
You said
It's a
classy!
classy organization.
God, fucking... Oh, you bitch.
Well, to Jamal's point, like, I also didn't quite know what her job was throughout most of the show, aside from terrifying Okiku. So yeah, it's kind of nice to have in that one episode, which was, if I remember correctly, the second to last episode, kind of get an idea about what she actually brings to the team.
Right. Sakura's a precious being.
So who plays them?
Yes, Kiri's played by Morgan Le Ray, and Sakura is played by other director, Jade Saxton. Morgan Lorraine, you've also heard as Meg Kataoka in Assassination Classroom, Ayame Shaga in Bento, and Kaori Kanzaki in the Certain Magical Index franchise. Jade Saxon, you've also heard as Nona in Death Parade, Kala in Fairy Tail, and Kana in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
That is a very similar character to Sakura, who also serves a very similar function.
Kind of.
I haven't watched Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Don't at me.
She's the little purple-haired girl.
I know
who
which one
splashes in the
Kana
rain.
is.
She
I
is
just
adorable.
haven't watched
She's the
show.
meme character.
No, I want to talk about Morgan as Kiri though, because I adore how she's like a sweet, caring caretaker, but also just that she's just kind of a bit of a dick.
Again, Kiri is a fucking troll.
Oh no, she's absolutely a troll, and it's delightful. I adore every time she messes with Satsuki.
Oh, it's the best.
That's some of my favorite stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, the fact that she straight up punks her into thinking that Yuzu, like, kissed her to make her grow back to normal size, and it worked, is like, that's how you know she's good at what she does. She knows exactly how to get into your head.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Kiri is Satsuki's other big sister.
Her surprisingly less horny one.
So, yeah, surprisingly.
Not by much, but slightly.
She's not really trying to bang her friends, unlike her other sister.
God damn it.
Wow.
Which I am I am of the thought process that Kiri and Sakura is like a big sis, little sister, or mother-daughter kind of thing. I actually think lean more on mother-daughter kind of thing.
Maybe,
but I think I bare minimum I get more of the sister.
Well, she did say when they're in the room together that when I'm around you, I'm free to be myself or let my hair down or something like that.
That's true.
They're snuggle buddies.
We're snuggle buddies.
Yeah, and Morgan's portrayal of that is very fitting because she's older sounding than the other characters, but she's got a lot of immaturity that kind of counters what her role is supposed to be.
Right.
And I didn't quite get, like, why is this girl the manager person? And then we get to that episode where the next two characters we're going to talk about, Ren wants to be work with someone else for a bit, and Kiri, just by the matter of complimenting her, because she knows that's what Ren wants to hear, gets her to keep doing her job. And that's like, oh, that's how you do it. She's the Jim from the office of this group.
Oh, okay.
Are you saying Sakura is Pam?
I'm not saying it. More research is needed to confirm or not.
The fact that I know that and I barely watched Lil The Office kind of
I
terrifies
haven't
me
watched The Office, and even I know that one.
Yeah.
No, like I would.
Yeah.
I like it how it's interesting though. You said like the tone of voice doesn't seem like an older, like however you described it, but you.
Well, she's no, like her voice is older sounding, but her delivery is immature.
Gotcha. I'm about to say because like the tone of voice, it's like Kiri is clearly older than a good amount of these characters, but you can't be too old because you also have Okami in here. So
plus the concept of time is skewed. So
it's very skewed.
I mean,
yeah, like.
Morgan is known for like playing like these kind of characters sometimes, but
Morgan also has fun sometimes with
I mean like the goofy kind of trolling like sexy characters, but every once in a while when you see him play like some type of mature character, even when they can be immature, she has fun with it. She can be look like I met her in person. She can be quite that character sometimes. So,
so you're saying is that she's not even acting here? They just put her in the booth.
I just think she took that. Well, I wouldn't exactly say be yourself, but I do think she took a naturalistic kind of approach. And,
sounds like it.
Kiri just fit the bill pretty much.
Kiri's so much fun. Because she just likes to fuck with everybody. It's great.
You know who took the exact opposite approach? Jade? Jade, which I can only describe, her vocal direction is small. Not just the word small.
Small bean.
SMOL.
L.
Oh my god. Small bean.
She is a small fox
small
girl.
bean.
She is very good small bean.
She's small bean. It's so precious and adorable.
And she just, it's like she's a girl, a few words, but you can tell when she does speak, it is very soft-spoken and like true child-like curiosity.
It's interesting that you just brought that up because the majority of Jade's performance is in fact a lot of like reaction noises and kind of like breathy, like huh.
Mm-hmm.
That's the majority of Jade's performance, and
or little evil snickers like as she brandishes the scissors.
Yo,
Really, babe? Andrew just took out a pair of my scissors just to prove his point. God damn.
I think the most lines that she gets in like a row is I think it's near the end of the show where she's like chasing after the spinning top that the God War makes for her, and she's like, "Come back."
I think the most words she had was actually in episode 2.
2. Yeah,
when Yuzu was working with her. I think that's the most dialogue that Sakura had in the whole fucking show.
Or like when she got Kiri the little candy rabbit thing as a gift.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which that was cute.
That was a rabbit?
That was cute until they did that one shot where they both licked it and it looked like it was melting, and I'm like, okay.
Andrew, just stop while you're
please
ahead.
be careful.
Stop
Please
while
be
you're
careful. Be very careful what you're about to say.
I know what I'm saying is I'm just saying for a show that's like, I know the show's pretty horny, but I thought that one was crass even for it.
I feel like those first couple
spot.
episodes, it didn't know how pure it wanted to be, so it accidentally slipped in a few extra horny bits for the audience.
No. Yeah. Because it probably was... I feel like a good portion of the fan service was the show's attempt to try and gain a certain audience, of course. But when you it kind of goes in general with the show. Like once you get past that, the show obviously is a hell of a lot more than that. It's a hell of a lot more than furry fan service.
But yeah, both these characters are perfectly fit. Both actresses are perfectly cast and performed for their roles. And it's kind of a shame like that we don't get to see more of them. Like Kiri does get kind of sidelined, I feel, compared to the main four, which we'll talk about next. But when she does show up, it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah, so y'all ready to move on?
Lesbians! Disaster lesbians!
Oh no, only one of them's a disaster lesbian. Only one of them's a disaster lesbian. Natsume just doesn't give a shit.
Natsume's just a himbo.
Natsume's a himbo and knows what she fucking wants.
A himbo,
Can a girl be a himbo?
A himbo, a herbo, a thebo, a thembo.
A herbo.
Herbo. Turbo? Herbo Turbo?
Haribo? Gummy bears? I don't know.
Bouncing here and there and everywhere.
Here, there, everywhere, and not a drop train.
So Natsume in red.
Natsume in red.
Natsume in red.
We love Natsume in red in this house.
One's a proactive lesbian, the other's a reactive lesbian.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
that's their relationship.
Natsume's the tomboy, aloof, pretty much cares about others, doesn't really think for herself, tends to have fun with a lot of things. Red is pretty good, like charming beauty, but she kind of has this meat side to her a little bit. She's deeply in love with Natsume and has trouble showing it from time to time.
From time to time?
She doesn't have trouble showing it. She has trouble channeling it in the right moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole scene with the ghost, and she thinks she's about to be kissed by Natsume.
Oh my god.
Just kiss me, you fool. She was more than ready to jump into bed with the ghost.
Oh yeah. 100% she was.
She wasn't seeing clearly through it.
I can see clearly now. The rain. No. I can see clearly now. The ghost is gone.
Oh my god. Anyways, these bitches gay. Good for them. Good for them.
They disaster lesbians that deserve each other because they're precious.
Yeah, pretty much. And playing these two, Red is played by Kate Oxley, and Natsume is voiced by Emily Fajardo. Kate Oxley, you've also heard as Fuyumi Todoroki in young Bakugo, actually, in My Hero Academia, Momodachi in Peach Girl, and Akane Tsunemori in Psycho Pass. Emily Fajardo, you've also heard as Bananya, Manana Nonomura in Chio Schoolroom.
Oh, Manana. Oh, God, Manana.
Speaking of disaster lesbians.
Yeah, cool. Pretty much.
And Awa and Higurashi When They Cry Go.
I just finished it today, finally, so...
Yeah.
That bitch.
Yeah, that bitch.
I've been watching through Peach Girl recently, and wow, Kate Oxley has come a long way since the early 2000s.
You don't hear Kate too often nowadays.
I think it's because she's actually like a school teacher in her day job.
Probably. I think
that would make sense.
maybe.
Okay.
I don't know 100%, but like you don't hear her too often, which is a shame.
Yeah,
but
this is a treat.
Yeah, 100%. This is a treat. When she shows up, it's a treat.
Yeah, because this okay, when I was first watching this, back when it was simulcasting in 2017, I assumed that Ren would be the token tsundere character. I was wrong. That was actually a different character in this cast. But because Ren is she's very concerned about her appearance, but she's got a sinister side to her, like a very condescending side, and Kate has to play both halves of that. So when Ren is up front with the guests and is trying to present herself well and is serving hot sake, she's got this very prim and put together voice. But then when she's like kind of behind the scenes, she's got almost kind of a snootier voice to her, especially when we first meet Yuzu. I think her first line behind the curtain is, "She must be slow." Yeah. And it's so Mean Girl. It's so fittingly Mean Girl.
Like, Ren has this whole perception of like the customer base that Konohanatei attends to, but she also has this perception of like being a proper lady and a fantastic hostess, and like basically she almost is the definition of the customer is always right. Almost. Almost.
I don't know if it's... Well, it's more that she expects everyone to... I'm sorry, especially girls to always be looking good, and she wants to help them get that way. She's basically Kuranosuke if he was born as a fox girl in the Meiji period.
Maybe, but when I say, like, she's almost the definition of the customer is always right, she will do basically anything for her customers. Almost anything. But then you have, again, going back to the dude that just basically freaking harasses her and touches her butt, and she has no idea what to do because she's like, I don't want to cause a scene, I don't want to make this a whole big deal. You know what I mean? Like, she has this, like, small internal conflict of, like, I don't want to ruin this, everybody's having a good time, this is gonna be my fault. But then, like, Natsume jumps in and is like, excuse me, sir, you had too much fucking drinks. You need to go.
But now, see, I don't think, though, that... I mean, you're right. That is how she responds. But I don't think it's because she's conflicted about calling out a customer because customers are always right. It's more that it contrasts with her idea of what a woman should be. And that is that a woman should not be that way. Should not be upfront about it. Basically, should not call out their harassers because that would rock the boat.
Honestly, all this time, she's kind of to me the epitome of all the servers I've ever worked with, especially even now, because I see some of that similar situation in the hospitality environment. So, having one's perception about how a woman should be as opposed to how a woman actually is, Ray can be kind of difficult, but as long as she learns to like flex that idea, I think she and Natsume will get along very well. So,
I mean, that's why Natsume is so essential, is because she balances out that part of her, because Natsume she is Honey Badger, she don't give a fuck. She will absolutely tell you when you are not supposed to.
I love it.
Are you saying Natsume is Jeremy Inman?
Yes, she is.
I got that reference. Anyways.
That went over my head.
Africa salad.
Africa salad, bad.
Okay.
But yeah. Oh boy, yeah, that's for a treat. Yeah, but with Kate Oxy, you're right. You don't hear a lot of anime nowadays.
No,
and when I heard her this role, I was kind of taken back a little because I'm like, you see, this is cute, pretty good, and you find out like she has a slightly younger stature because she has expectations of how a woman should be and stuff, and it's kind of like, does this voice really match the personality she has? What really clicked for me was her little anger spats. For example, when she's yelling in the well, all those run-on sentences. I think she managed to do that in one breath. Yeah. The fact that she can do that, I don't know if she did that in one breath or if she had to like do it multiple takes to just light it up. The fact that she did was just ran along with it. It really clicked for me because like that kind of personality, that voice didn't necessarily match until that point.
Right.
And I thought Kate did a very good job because I know with like some people Kate doesn't really click. Cause I still remember that Shonen Maid episode y'all did years ago. And Kate's one of those love it or leave it kind of types. So speaking of love it or leave it, but
I mean, I really do like Kate as Ren a lot. Like, it's the whole staff of Konohanatei is a fun and interesting dynamic, and like all of the voices are different and distinct. That like this is Ren, this is Natsume, this is Yuzu, this is Kiri. Like they're distinct, and I think the dynamic is there. But can I just say, Emily Fajardo stole the show for me.
Yes.
I love Natsume so much.
I will admit, one of the reasons I wanted to do Konohana Kitan as an episode was because of Emily Fajardo. Because for one thing, you see her a lot nowadays in anime, a lot of upcoming anime and so on. Like I know, like they're like she's in major roles in shows we don't cover or not interested in covering, or she's like a really big role in shows we do cover but not big enough. And to me, it's kind of sad because she has a really good voice. To me, she's like a little brasher version of Terry Doty, if you could believe it. But at the same time,
I kind of hear it.
But at the same time, her personality comes into her own. Especially if you watch Chiyo School Road, because my God,
we gotta talk about Chiyo School Road at some point, please. I want to talk about Chiyo. I bet Hardy would want in on that if we did it, though.
Well, we're finally getting around to things from 2017, so I'm sure 2018 can't be far down the road.
Look, Chiyo School Road is basically fuck my sides, the anime.
Yeah, it is. That's Chiyo School Road in the nutshell.
This is why I love Leah Clark's writing so much.
Ren really wants to fuck a Natsume sides, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Really, babe? Really, Andrew?
Their dynamic is... Natsume is an interesting beast in this show because she's the least curvy of all the girls, and I'm super used to anime where there's a flat-chested girls surrounded by lots of other women, especially ones where they get naked a lot of time, for there to be call-outs for Natsume to be like, look at those mosquito bites, or like, you're not feminine looking at all. But no, the show goes in the opposite direction, and it plays up what they call a nymph-like personality.
Yes!
Like her body type being very, very attractive to Ren, and I can honestly see that being a thing that a lot of women can be attracted to.
I think Ren is the one who describes Natsume as kind of like this mystical nymph kind of creature.
Yeah.
Right, that the androgynous can be hot. Let's not sugarcoat around it.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the most famous example in a mainstream anime is Howl from Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah,
that kind of that metrosexual male who is not masculine but not entirely feminine. That can be very hot for a lot of women.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that Natsume we get a positive representation of that in this show.
I love Emily as Natsume though. She's my favorite.
Am I a man? Am I a woman? Everybody thinks I'm hot, therefore everyone is gay.
But no, I really love Natsume's tone because Natsume, of course, comes off as a tomboy, right? So
obviously,
yeah,
She wants to sumo
I
wrestle.
know.
Or watch
But
sumo
so
wrestling.
the tone is there, but there's just enough of a feminine quality to Emily's voice that you just know that Natsume is a girl. Like there's just enough of a feminine tone that makes it work so well, and not.
See, I didn't think that she was like necessarily pushing more towards the androgynous side. Like I didn't think there was any moment of doubt that she was that Natsume was.
Well,
female.
here's the thing, though. The main joke with Natsume's character is that she is mistaken as a boy more often than not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
So, like, I feel like
just saying
Emily has more of the tomboyish tone, but has just enough of a feminine quality to that to still make it clear that she is a girl. You know what I mean? The tone is masculine enough to keep the comedic bit there that she is mistaken as a boy a lot. But there is a slight feminine quality to that tone as well, so that by the audience, even though we already know from the get-go, like, this is also a girl, that quality is still there, if that makes sense.
I wouldn't even call it feminine. I mean, you're right that there is a feminine quality there, but the thing that I think defines Emily's Natsume is actually that she doesn't sound super young.
Right.
She's meant to be younger than the older characters in the hotel, but yet she sounds almost college age.
Yeah.
And it's like that's a very intentional way to. Yeah, that's an intentional way to make her sound not as girly as Ren or Yuzu.
Yeah,
is.
that's fair. That's a fair point to make there.
I'll say this, though. I actually wasn't the biggest fan of Emily as Natsume at first. It sounded a little odd. I wasn't sure if it was at odds with like the character design and the personality, but I guess it was just like I was expecting a little more. I'm not even sure how I would describe it. It sounded almost a little too, like,
too boyish.
Too old, too young, too girl.
I guess at first it seemed a little too. I guess in my brain I was getting the impression that like Natsume was a very androgynous character, but I feel like it leaned almost a little too into the masculine at first.
Okay.
But then I realized like once Emily started getting a little more comfortable with the character. I'm just gonna redo that part.
Sorry.
But once I saw Emily was getting a little more comfortable with the character, I kind of understood what the character was going for, in that they kind of were just this well-meaning, just tomboy dumbass.
She isn't the brightest bulb.
Natsume's not the brightest bulb. She
she's
doesn't know
not
how to
the
read
sharpest-
That's why to me, like,
She's not the sharpest.
that's why to
tool
me,
shed,
Natsume
but-
genuinely feels like the most actual definition of himbo is that Natsume is very sweet, very kind, and dumb as bricks.
Him absolutely respects women.
Oh,
That's a crucial
absolutely!
element to a himbo.
Hardcore
Yeah.
respects women. Absolutely.
I love the final line in that Waiting Lovesick episode where all the genders have been gotten out, and Yaoi is kind of confessing, Ren's the kind of Chris I could fall in love with. And this whole episode, Natsume has
been kind of oblivious the whole
Ren's
time.
Emotions. Yeah, but then that final line, she's like, Ren's not for you because I said so.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I love that immaturity where it's like, even though like you're very nice,
She's
it's
mine.
like, look, I'm gonna stand my ground.
Yeah.
Also,
Like don't get any
you
ideas.
see her get so mad at Satsuki's sister, where it's like, oh, you bitch.
Yeah. Because fucking when Hiragi and Ayame go to visit, and Hiragi just basically, like, straight up flirts with Ren, and Ren is just, like, so over.
It takes a lot to make Natsuki mad at anybody.
Oh, Natsume got pissed.
Oh, like, legit. There is subtext, there is undertones. No, these two are actually in love with each other. And I kind of applaud that the show isn't sugarcoating it, they're just straight up an item.
No, yeah. Like, it's not, the show does not hide it, and I think that's fine. They just also don't know how to fucking talk to each other about their damn feelings half the time.
I mean, the dynamic of the show can't go any further than that. Like, we can't get them, like, engaged to each other within the context of the show. This isn't Yuri on Ice, where that kind of development could happen. They have to stay
it's
at
Yuri
that
on
same...
Hotel.
You're not wrong.
But, yes. I'm just saying that they can't develop beyond the status quo with the way that the show is structured.
So much arrows, a woman like Ren could get pregnant. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking that Higgs scene, so...
That episode was weird. It was structured weird.
Just roll deep.
Nothing as strange as egg pregnancy.
That's right! Yeah, because it starts off with Ren with Renosuke's little egg, and Natsume's just like, I don't know what's happening, but I will take full responsibility. And everyone's like, the fuck, Natsume?
That's not how... Sleeping next to each other is not how pregnancy works.
Close enough. You know what I mean?
That explains so much.
Still, it's kind of funny.
Just a little. Yeah, these two are... You said they stole the show. I'm not sure if I'd say they stole the show, but they're definitely the best duo of the show.
They're the best duo of the show, and I loved Emily as Natsume. That she's my favorite performance of the show. Honestly. Yeah, I just loved it.
They are in Lesbians with one another.
They're in Lesbians.
We stand the lesbian
We stand
foxes.
Natsume and Ren in this house.
Have they done crimes yet, though?
Let me see. Would, No, we're saving that for season 2.
I think we got one last pair on the night shift before we wrap up for the night.
Yeah, it's basically our last pair of foxes. So we basically have the two main characters of the show if you think about it. We have Yuzu and we have Satsuki. Now, Yuzu is a newcomer to the Konohanatei, was raised in a remote village by Sister Bikuni, has no concept of city life, and is very much a klutz, basically. We find out that she was not only tutored by Sister Bikuni, it was her idea to go to Konohanatei when she got older, just to get a much grander idea of the world. And boy, does she have an experience, especially with episode 12.
Yes.
And we have, I guess essentially the other half, we have Satsuki. The interesting thing about Satsuki is a long time ago, her and her sister Haragi, there was a debate between who should go to serve the goddesses and who should work at the Konohanatei. Satsuki was chosen to work at the Konohanatei because they thought that her sister was better suited to be a princess. When you come to find out,
A princess? Hold on.
I mean, sorry, that was a slip of the tongue.
I was like, I don't know if Hiragi would be better suited as a princess, given how she behaves. Oh no! Yes, babe.
that was a slip of.
She'll make you feel like a pillow princess after she's done with you. That's for
Oh God!
Everyone can attest that their favorite Disney movie is The Princess and the Fox.
But
Hey,
better suited to be a priestess.
unlike a certain Cape Crusader, she's no coward.
We're going there tonight, aren't we?
No,
Let's be real here.
That wasn't a Cape Crusader. That was just DC.
Let's be real here. Every fox in the show is more heroic than Batman.
Anyway, it turns out that her sister's kind of inferior. Satsuki is all the brains in the family, so she's set to work as a Konohanatei as a result. She has not given up on her dreams of serving the gods just yet, but between these two, they find out more about each other and find out about themselves, basically. But voice of these two, Yuzu is voiced by Lindsay Seidel, and Satsuki is voiced by Dawn Bennett. Lindsay Seidel, you've also heard as Nagisa in the Assassination Classroom. Kyoko is This Asabi. Kido in Kido's Journey to Beautiful World. And then yeah, I know.
Noah's having flashbacks.
I nothing against Lindsay. It's just I really hate that. I mean, Lurch, you did a good job on this show, but what the hell with Kino's Journey to the Beautiful World? What the hell?
I never finished The Beautiful World. I still need to finish the original Kino's Journey.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, no, we're stopping the
No,
podcast.
we already stopped it enough times. Let's go.
Going over to the K section.
Anyway, while Noah's yelling at me from beyond the internet.
And Nejire Hado in My Hero Academia. Don Benji also has Misuzu Sonokada in Eldlife, Emperor Penguin Kimono Friends, Yozua and the Helpful Fox Seiko-san, and R is Show by Rock.
Okay, I got the box set right here. Alright, Lilac, pick an episode between 1 and 13. We're watching this sucker.
Look, man, I'm not going through the feels again.
No.
So.
No.
Fair enough. We'll do that.
Here's what I think is a bit interesting, because I'm gonna with Lindsay Seidel, there was a little bit of a gap for Lindsay, because she went with her at that point. I believe it was her fiance because he was in school. So if I'm thinking my timeline correctly, this would be around the time when Lizzie got back into Dallas. And she kind of started getting into doing some roles again. I could be dead wrong, though, timing-wise. But I feel like that was a thing that happened. But Lindsay is so precious. She's young and naive and just, like, such a hard worker and wants to learn. And Yuzu is so adorable.
She's such a sweetheart.
She is the Toru of this show.
Wow.
She's what?
The Toru.
She is the Toru Honda of this
Oh
show.
my!
Oh
okay,
my
okay,
God.
Okay, no, honestly, well, I was thinking about it watching this show.
Mm-hmm.
She actually kind of sometimes sounds eerily similar to Laura Bailey's Toru Honda.
Oh my God.
Like, something about the inflection and the way she approaches things. There are times she sounds eerily, scarily similar to Toru.
And Yuzu can be pretty philosophical, like Toru can be sometimes. God damn it, you're right.
Yes, in the
fuck, I hate you.
It's in those philosophical moments, not in the higher pitched klutzy "I'm sorry you had to save me" voice, but yeah, it's in those where she's trying to comfort people who are going through struggles just by helping them realize the good things in life. And like I was saying, every episode has kind of a lesson or a moral attached to it. And most of them are kind of delivered through the mouth of Yuzu's observations.
You're not wrong. Damn it.
So, no, that's not. When has being compared to Toru Honda ever been a bad thing?
I mean,
True.
But now my brain just can't stop thinking of it. I'm like, dang. But no, Lindsay's precious and adorable, and I love it so much. Like, even though she almost gets dragged off to fucking the River Styx like 5 fucking times in the whole show. It's like, oh, it's like, oh, you realize you were this close to being dead. Really? Yeah.
And anytime that visuals go from detailed character designs to the, well, I don't know what term you want to call that, where it's like the simplified fox silhouette character designs, that's where she goes into that higher pitched squeaky voice.
Yeah, kind of.
The voice we all know Lindsay for, usually.
Sometimes she does different.
I mean, I know Lindsay, like, I hear Lindsay, I think Nagisa from Assassination Classroom. It's just interesting that, we had another androgynous character in this show, whereas I feel like Lindsay kind of nailed that way to do it, at least for the character in Assassination Classroom. Natsume's a little bit of a different kind of androgynous character. But I do like that, the one thing that Lindsay doesn't do, which I really appreciate, because it's really hard to do moe characters, is that she doesn't dip into baby voice very often. There's a few times here or there, but yeah, that kind of baby squeak voice way of speaking is mostly held off. But it's still cute. Like, the very first thing I wrote on my notes, the very top of the list was, oh my god, it's adorable! Because it really is adorable.
I mean,
and
what's interesting, because I love how, I do like how you said she doesn't entirely go with the cutesy squeaky voice. Yuzu grows over the course of the show. Yeah. And Lindsay with that grows with Yuzu, and it works very well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you got Dawn Bennett.
Oh, yeah.
oh, Dawn.
Okay, Dawn is the best performance in the show.
Yeah.
Really?
I can...
I'm going to
I
straight
would
up
say
say that
pretty
Dawn
good.
Bennett is the best performance in the stub, and I feel like not only just because it's good, but because at the time it was still a relatively impressive Dawn. Because I wasn't quite aware of how, like, deep, growly she could kind of go a bit with Satsuki, where she has that deep, authoritative, like, no-nonsense level attitude, but you still see that level of, like, sweetness ooze through when she's trying to hide it. Because, no, you're right. Red wasn't the tsundere, Satsuki is. Satsuki's the biggest freaking tsune, and I love her. But Dawn plays her with such strength, no-nonsense attitude, while also being a total, like, sweetheart. And she just really sells the strength, the sternness, while also the genuine sweetness, adorableness, and, like, her love for her friends and her comrades and all that. She's also really, really funny to watch her interact and bounce off the other characters. Whether it's Kiri being a dick to her, or just Yuzu just being the sweetest
Yuzu
little...
being Yuzu.
Okay, you know what? If we're bringing this full circle, we're bringing this full circle.
Oh boy.
If Yuzu's Toru, Satsuki's Kyo.
God damn it!
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't argue against
my favorite...
it either. That's the worst part of this.
I want to point to, like, just one little interaction that I think highlights their dynamic really well. It's the scene where Satsuki gets shrunk down, and she's basically having Yuzu speak orders for her so no one can hear her. And so Satsuki shouts out to Natsume. I wrote it down here somewhere. Where was it? It was
something about don't walk on the boss.
Yeah, it was. She shouts out because Natsume's on the moth. She shouts, "I should she shouts out, "I ought to smack you."
Yuzu's like, "I should reprimand you.
I should reprimand you physically."
Oh God.
That's just.
Oh
funny.
Yeah. That episode was fun. I was a little indifferent though on how they portrayed that, because I thought maybe because she was shrunken down that they would, like, pitch up her voice higher.
I'm kind of glad they did.
But in hindsight, in hindsight, I'm glad they did it either, because you know you still gotta capture Satsuki's personality.
Right, and like if you tried pitching the voice up, it could you run the risk of it possibly going borderline cartoonish too. And that's not what you need for this.
There are shows where that works out. Like, Midori Days is a good example of where a character gets smaller.
But Midori Days is more, like, straight-up comedy compared to Konohana Kitan.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So, I can see where you're coming from, Jamal, but I'm glad they also did not pitch it for that one episode.
Great. Yeah, I think the moment that happened afterwards, because you can see how flustered Satsuki gets when Kiri's just trolling her about how she got back to normal.
Oh yeah.
I read in Western stories.
But I think what really makes Satsuki work is the fact that, again, Dawn also takes a naturalistic approach, because for any of us that have ever met her, you know that's her actual voice.
Right. Like, and before that, you normally would... When Dawn was still relatively new, you didn't really know her very well for what you would conceivably know as her natural-sounding voice. I think. It's been a hot minute.
I mean, I don't go into many shows with a preconception of how they're supposed to sound. Unless they're voices that are, like, super distinct in my head, like Sarah Wiedenheft being a good example. I don't have, like, a preconceived idea of what Dawn Bennett's supposed to
get you,
sound
but
like.
I'm just saying from a perspective of, like, in terms of, like, the growth of the actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just an added bonus for those who are more in the know.
Right, it's the same idea as, like, someone being typecast as a certain kind of thing, but then getting the chance to branch out. It's similar in that regard.
Certainly.
That's kind of how I felt a little bit too, so.
But Lindsay is adorable as Yuzu, and I love Dawn's portrayal as Satsuki. It's genuinely my favorite in the whole show.
Yeah. And what's kind of funny is looking at these two characters, I didn't realize it till I started rewatching the show. I'm actually the epitome of both of them because, like Satsuki, I can be a busybody when I'm on the clock, but when it's my days off, I'm just aloof and want to chill out. But I don't really care much about how I look.
Do you stare off into space, Jamal? Like you sometimes does.
But I'm also kind of like Yuzu, in which I can like be oblivious to certain things, and there are certain aspects of life I don't fully understand, but deep down I can be carried, and like I can pull through what need to be,
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, so like I said, I like these kind of shows that kind of really make you think, like, well, not too much about like how like the show is supposed to work and stuff, but make you think about yourself though, and I think.
Yeah, like I was saying, those special moments that Yuzu is kind of like highlighting the theme of the episode, and it starts right at the beginning. I think the theme she points to in episode 1 is that you should take the time to appreciate the beauty around you, and you could let that just completely pass you by, or you could actually think to yourself, you know what, I should. It's a nice day outside. I'm like, life is good. I should appreciate the beauty around me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think we could take a moment to reflect on that final thoughts.
I have one introspective thought.
Uh-oh, what?
Is every lesbian in this into pet play?
So, final thoughts on the show is that it is actually a really well-constructed... okay, so like we were saying before, the dub had a huge challenge to overcome in that it's super Japanese, and they adapted it really well. I think the reason that it works so well is because Deborah really differentiated which characters should be given like more slangy terms, which ones should have more vernacular speech patterns. Like Satsuki definitely gets more of those. Like she calls Yuzu a shrimp at the beginning of the show, and then other characters are more reserved and use more formal speech patterns. So that, coupled with the good direction from Cliff and Jade, helps round out this entire episodic series. You'll have your favorite episodes, you'll have your not so favorite episodes, but there will definitely be at least one episode I feel that strikes a chord with anyone who watches this. So, in a lot of ways, like shows like Violet Evergarden or Mushishi that are just really good episodic shows, this one definitely plays up to that.
No, it's... Konohana Kitan is definitely one of those shows that but very likely flew under people's radars when it came out.
Very.
Yeah, and I'm very happy we're talking about it like 4 years later now, because it is such a very nice, chill, calming show, and it does have its comedy to it, but it also has like all of these moments and themes and kind of these life lessons in a way. That you can draw upon in your life. I mean, the fact that I fucking hardcore related to the doll episode with Lily, Lord almighty. In terms of the English dub, I think it was handled very beautifully. Like Noah said, Deborah Crane's writing was so stellar because it not only made it accessible for English-speaking audiences, but a lot of the comedy, a lot of the comedy was intact. A lot of the a lot of the mysticism and this presence is not the right word, but you kind of get what I'm saying. It's all there in a nice, wonderful little package, and the performances and the acting. It's just the whole thing is so solid. It's a very solid show, and it's a very relaxing show. If you haven't watched Konohana Kitan, please do. It's one of those underrated gems that people haven't seen, so.
I feel like this is a show that shouldn't work as well as it does. Every time I, think about what it is that, on the one hand, it is an Iyashikei, which is basically a calming, very laid-back, comfy show. On the other hand, is also an aggressively goofy, horny fox lesbian show.
Horny light.
It is aggressively goofy, silly, moe, and sometimes very fan service horny. It's also very much a a love letter to some of like Japanese folklore, mythology, and the types of gods, demons, and stories that they've talked about in the past.
Andrew, would you say that it's nostalgic for the past?
I think that's a good way of putting it, yes. It's got a sort of nostalgia for what was like the old times, but I wouldn't say it does it in a way where it's almost, a crude way of saying it, almost kind of like masturbatory for like the good old days. Like, oh, things used to be better back then. It's just, there's a yearning for a simpler time, and I feel that comes across in some of these stories. But it's also just a really thought-provoking episodic tale about concepts of life, death, and what comes next. About people moving on, how people deal, how a woman who lost her child young copes with the fact that her child never got to grow up. An old man who lost his way of life, coming to terms with the fact that things will never be the same. A girl who's afraid that nobody believes who she is and can't bear with it anymore. A ghost girl who killed herself and was willing to become anything she wanted to make people happy.
Yeah.
Before Yuzu was like, the only way you'll truly be happy is if you are happy with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a charming, wonderful, strange amalgamation of a show that's really charming, and I really am glad I got to watch it and talk about it again. The dub, I would say, is good. I think it is a little rough in some areas. Like, you can definitely tell it's got a lot of people who were a little new at the time, who sometimes didn't have their footing, like, quite clear on how they were approaching some of the things, but I think the dub is solid and well thought out and well acted enough that it really was a worthwhile experience, and I'm glad I got to talk about it and cover it again.
So yeah, like I was saying, this was a show I wanted to cover for a long time, because normally with these types of shows, we've covered these types of shows whether before this one or after this one, have like some of the similar concepts, and in that even though they tend to blend Japanese folklore with like different subgenres, it's not really in your face about any one topic in particular, and I kind of like that. I also kind of like how it just like it can make me think about certain aspects in certain ways, and it's just like it is a comfy chill show. And with the dub, the dub is not completely solid, but it is very spectacular, especially for the time period it came from, because like Andrew said, there were some new names at the time, and since they've grown to become household names, it's just that everybody needs to be given due diligence pretty much, and from the director to the script writing to the cast, everything kind of balances out as it should be, as what it should play out. And Konohana Kitan is definitely one of those shows that went under the radar, especially in a time when there was like shonen, there was like name brand anime that people recognize, and that really kind of upset me back when we did the fall election arc, because you gotta go for something out of the box every once in a while,
Yeah. That's why we don't do election arcs really anymore, so.
No, we just do patrons now.
Yeah,
so,
just Patreon stuff. I mean, not that we don't take viewer suggestions, it's just that we also want to be able to cover a wide range of things.
Which, look, we'll tell you this. There's never gonna stop being anime for us to cover.
Lord, we're gonna be here for
There's never gonna stop being anime, period.
Yeah.
There will always be animation being made, and it's more than you will ever be able to watch.
More than we will ever be able to
embrace
cover.
that truth right now.
But in our lifetime, we're not gonna be able to cover everything. Are you kidding me?
But we'll do the best we can to at least get some good ones in there.
We are, as the show points out, we are good Fox servants, and we do the best we can.
Yep.
Yes. And if you want to see the show for yourself, it's available on Funimation now. It's available streaming for Funimation now. It's $6 a month if you pick the bottom plan, $8 a month if you pick the premium plan. I think it's $100 a year if you take the top tier plan. There's also a 14-day free trial if you want to watch it or any other titles in their catalog. But make sure to cancel if you wish, since the credit card is required and you will be charged after the trial. If you want to own the show yourself, it's available on Blu-ray and DVD in either Standard Edition or an Essentials Edition from Right Stuff, Best Buy, wherever you purchase your anime. But as for us and what we get up to, plug yourselves, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi there, my name is Classy Spartan. You can find me over on Twitter at MangaMan9000. You might know me for I am a moderator over on the Funimation Discord, as well as I'm a podcaster on Surreal Resolutions Podcast ONA, where I talk about latest anime news alongside fellow Dub Talk podcast cohort Jet.
My name is Stephanie. Sometimes I'm called Lilac, depends on the day. Mostly Noah. But you can follow me on Twitter at Lilac Anime Review, with review being spelled R-E-V-U-E. I also have a blog, lifeandtimes.talk.wordpress.com. At the time of recording this episode, because we decided to kind of let some of the movie stuff happen and not do double dip on episodes, because Lord, we're tired. Hopefully I'm still doing this by the time this comes out. I have been streaming on the Dub Talk Twitch. On Thursday nights. So if I'm still doing it by the time when this comes out, then come have fun with us. Come have fun. It's a great time.
Indeed. My name is Noah Clue, and I watch terrible Valentine's Day anime out of practical obligation.
No.
He's not wrong.
I hope you all enjoyed this year's servings. That was an adventure that we will never we'll never get that bad again.
No,
I
hope not. Fuck.
I pray to the fox gods we never do.
Jesus.
But if you want to follow me for when I'm not being subjected to the torture chamber, you can follow me on Twitter at NoahClue, where I like to discuss everything about animation from around the world. I offer the classy, worldly perspective to this group, because all these people here need to, they need to watch more Russian cartoons. Everyone needs to watch more Russian cartoons. Go watch The 12 Months. That's a good movie from the 1960s that more people should check out.
Okay.
As for me, I can be found on my Twitter, Jamstar529, on YouTube at Jamstar1. I'm assistant editor for the podcast. Blogs Collected Dust. I plan to do some solo podcasting soon. As for the show, you can also, I don't know how this just slipped my mind, but apparently you can also find Konohana Kitan available on Crunchyroll. But please give the show your love and support. Please. It is very underrated. On top of that, if you also want to give your support to the podcast, we can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. That's it, right?
Yeah, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. Yep, accurate.
Those are the big ones, yeah.
We can also be found on social media, Instagram. Not really.
But Instagram is dead.
At Tumblr. Not really.
Okay,
not
our
really.
big ones are Dub Talk Podcast.
No, he was getting to it. He's doing a bit.
Oh, okay.
On Twitch at Dub Talk Podcast.
Come watch us stream things.
Yes, well, right now it's just Megan, you, Steph, and Ahmad streaming as far as I know.
Yeah, Ahmad on occasion, but at the time of recording this, it's mostly been Megan and I consistently. So, and hopefully by the time this episode comes out, we make fucking Twitch affiliate too. We're that fucking close, guys.
Hallelujah. Yes, and I hope to join you in your streaming soon.
Hell yeah.
But, speaking of which, we can also be found on Twitter at Dub Talk Podcast. But if you really want to give your support to the podcast, we also have a Ko-fi and a Patreon as well. To which, in our $5 tier for patrons, we have Megan's mom and dad, Michelle Travis, Miraculous Corazon, Nico Robin, both Yaoi heads. Can I call him Nico Robin, both Yaoi heads, just for tonight?
Yes.
I don't think Jackson would mind.
Executive permission.
Okay, then. Yes, Nico Robin, but with Yuri heads. Sue Tweet and Victor May Baroda. In our $10 tier, we have Carly Leistercow, Crimson Kinder, Jacob Wilson, J2, aka Jared, Julia W, man, that's a lot of J's. The one called Lenti, and Otaku Anthony. Thank you all for being such lovely patrons.
Thank you.
Thank you for being patrons at our hotel.
Yes.
We hope you enjoy your service.
And thank you guys for obliging me for my birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy belated birthday. And when this episode comes out, it'll be even more fucking belated. God.
Yeah.
Because this will probably come out in late August, early September. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you guys deserve a break. We should wrap up soon. If you want, there's some cake in the break room.
Yeah, I love that idea.
But don't eat the medicine that makes you smaller.
Yeah, sweetie, don't eat that little thing that looks
Oh
like chocolate.
Lord, I better hope Sakura didn't get to the cake first.
Oh,
no. Anyways, we thank you for the hospitality. It's time to go to bed.
Good.
Any final words?
Aloha.
Any final words before we sign off?
Go to sleep. Nya, nya, nya. Nya, 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 nya.
So for Bob,
may the sound of sweet fox girls lull you to sleep.
Happy birthday, Jamal.
Nya, nya, nya.
thank you.
Nya,
So from all of us
nya.
here at Dub Talk, good night, Otaku on, and keep the peace.
Nya, nya, nya. Nya, nya, nya.
Nya, nya.
Nya,
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 really?
nya, nya.
Good night, y'all.
You are not